Net today, you can see Oaklawn. Racing will continue at Oaklawn. Not the case at Aqueduct. Tractors are out. Visibility is very low. The fog rolled in, and about 10 minutes ago, announced by the stewards, the remainder of the program has been canceled. So that's how we'll close out 2022. Alongside Andy Serling, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. We promised there is a racetrack back there. And again, the fog, you can see it. The fog came in. They had just announced the cancellation of the remainder of the program, Andy. But again, we do have racing from Tampa Bay Downs and Oaklawn for this New Year's Eve program.
Yeah, and the Mig is going to join us in a few minutes, and he'll discuss the many days that he rode here when the visibility was considerably worse than this. But whatever, stewards made a decision, and we're canceled the last 4 races.
Were you caught off guard? Were you surprised when the announcement was made just minutes ago?
Yeah, shocked, actually. No, so don't understand it all, but I don't make those decisions.
All right, so again, the remainder of the program canceled from Aqueduct. So we've reshuffled today's races, brought to you by Claiborne Farm, and now looks like this with Oaklawn and a special day of thoroughbred racing at Oaklawn to close the season. All 2-year-olds, all the time. 10 2-year-old races, couple of stakes races. You'll see the Renaissance Stakes and the Year's End, and we picked up Tampa Bay Downs races 5 through 9. Of course, if you haven't joined us, feel free to do so with the incentive, Naira Bets. You can use that promo code, a $200 deposit match. Promo code MATCH200. Sign up. Join us at nairabets.com. As we welcome in Jonathan Kinchin, joining us from Saratoga. JK, a very happy New Year's Eve to you. A, B, we need your best bet of the day, and we're hoping it wasn't a little bit later on here at Aqueduct. If so, you had to pivot.
It worked out perfectly. But I will say this. Me and G had a conversation about how hard is Lafitte going to party tonight in New York City. So just let us know at some point to settle a little bit of a debate. One of us said you're going to go home and just sit there and do nothing. One of us said you're going to rage. Let us know. My best bet is in race 6 at Oaklawn Park. Horse players love horses that are undefeated. And you have an undefeated horse in here in the 6 towards the outside, Count de Monet. And this horse is going to get bet in here. And although the horse is undefeated and has had nice races, a horse towards the inside, the 4, 2 Eagles River, has much faster races, isn't undefeated, but I think is a better horse. I'm hoping that the ones in the past performances get players to bet this 6 horse, and hopefully we can get a fair price on the 4, 2 Eagles River. I like the 4 in there. Let's see if we can get them to bet the 6.
There's already been consumption, JK, even pregame on the show. Here, there was a toast. You weren't part of it because you never actually here like at the studio with the rest of us. But yeah, that's how we've started our New Year's Eve. JK, you have his best bet on the afternoon. That's a little bit later on at Oaklawn Park. We touched on all the 2-year-old races. We have a couple of 2-year-old stakes races. Oaklawn Park, and the first will be the Year's End, or the 9th race, the Year's End. We'll take a look at that field. 1 mile, 2-year-old fillies. Everything's upside down. Defining Purpose drawn inside 7-5. David Cabrera to ride. November 17th, Andy. Defining Purpose, this maiden score at Oaklawn.
Who are we looking at?
Defining Purpose.
Winning at Oaklawn?
Churchill.
Oh, I thought you said Oaklawn.
Churchill. I did. Again, we're
okay.
Upside down. Did look good winning at Churchill.
I think she sort of shows you where the field is at, that her 70 buyers make her one of the major players in this race. She was an absolute no-show in the Goldenrod, though the horse who finished 3rd in there came back and improved her buyer figure about 8 points or so, I think, maybe 7 points in winning her next start of stake last week down at Fairgrounds. And I know one person, Tom Amos, who thinks the winner of that race is the greatest horse that's ever slipped through a bridle. I believe that he said that she has inert ability.
Inert?
Yes, inert ability.
It's like what they say about Spectacular Bid.
He's a trainer, you know, innate, inert. Just what's one letter
you know what he meant.
Friends?
Like you know what he meant.
Trainer speak.
Unifying right next door will be a factor as well, though. 12-1 on the morning line. We'll have much more on the Year's End Stakes at Oaklawn Park. We have a live look from Tampa Bay Downs. No such issues with visibility. $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 lifetime. And they are on the main track here. And they will file into the gate momentarily. It sounds like we're looking at this for the very first time. It's because we are. Why don't we just hand things over to Jason Beam with the loading call. Post-time race 5, Tampa Bay Downs.
It's been a light rain throughout the day, but several hours of it obviously has us off the turf. And at 7, I'm set to go here. Favoritism right out of the inside. Silent Sonata at 9-5. Warcross, Vernon Bush to gate 2. Here's Baraheen. Jose Ferrer looking for a race-to-race double with Baraheen. Took the last one with Edmund Fitzgerald on the pickup mount. HC Holiday coming up. Just Deal With It moving in. Swinging out Beach Holiday and Social Long Distance will be all set for a start here in today's 5th. Social Long Distance, Jose Alonso to the outside draw. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Good start in the center. HC Holiday sent for speed. Baraheen also asked to be forwardly placed, and those two square off here in the opening 16, joining them from the outside. Social Long Distance. The pace is on here early on as they run into that first turn. Warcross down toward the inside is 4th. Right outside of that one, Beach Holiday in the teal colors is 5th. It's a length and a half more back to Silent Sonata in 6th, and 2.5, 3 back to Just Deal With It, who trails. As that 3-prong battle is now down to 2. Social Long Distance, Baraheen, those are the two that go on best. HC Holiday content to drop off the pace, 24-1 for the opening quarter. Then comes Warcross, who's right to that one's outside 4th. On the far outside comes Beach Holiday 5th. Silent Sonata continues on in 6th. That group of 6 gets away a little bit from Just Deal With It, who's a distant last, about 13 off the lead. Just over a half-mile left to go in their journey. Baraheen now a length and a half in front of Social Long Distance as they run past the half-mile pole. Creeping through HC Holiday on the inside, Beach Holiday to the outside. 48 seconds for the opening half-mile and on his pace over today's course. It's 2 more, then back to Warcross. Silent Sonata starts to inch into contention as 6th, but only 4.5 behind. Still another 6 or 7 back to Just Deal With It. Baraheen trying to fend off a bevy of challengers. Up on the outside, Beach Holiday. HC Holiday coming through down toward the inside from 3rd. Starting to wind up Silent Sonata and Warcross. They're both starting to get into gear, but they're going to be 3 and 4 wide as they come into the stretch. Here's Beach Holiday up on the outside of Baraheen, and here's HC Holiday down toward the inside. Final furlong left to go. HC Holiday slips through. Baraheen battling on. Beach Holiday down the outside, and Silent Sonata down the crown of the course, going to try to get him from 4th. Final 16th to go. HC Holiday just in front. Baraheen is game in 2nd, and it's HC Holiday going to go on to win it here by a length and a half. Baraheen 2nd, 3rd with Silent Sonata, and 4th Beach Holiday.
HC Holiday, a 3rd lifetime win. Takes down this 5th race, Tampa Bay Downs. The switch to the main track. The race was switched to the main track, and HC Holiday takes advantage.
Tell you, I just don't know what to say. You know, it was really one of the more exciting races that I've seen. That I've never seen anybody who's in the race before.
6-3.
It's a whole new thing in racing. Seeing races without ever seeing the PPs.
Handicapping on the fly.
It's kind of like those old days. We used to have this thing where you used to get these cards at the supermarket, and they showed old days races, and you could see if your horses did well. So it's a similar thing.
This is when you have to rely on the old eye test, Andy, which is a proven, foolproof method of handicapping.
Should we give our viewers some information on the Pick 6 carrier?
Yes.
So Pick 6 obviously was a mandatory giveaway. Today being the last day of the year, we only ran 2 races, so the Pick 6 is a non-bet, and the Pick 6 will be refunded. So everybody gets their money back. It doesn't matter if you had no winners, it's a refund. Tomorrow will be the Pick 6 carryover will be paid out tomorrow, and it will be a mandatory payout tomorrow on New Year's Day, assuming the stewards let us run tomorrow.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit
maybe it'll be
here.
A big day at Times Square, and can't run there.
We still going to Times Square together tonight?
Oh yeah, we're leaving.
Going, right?
We're leaving the MiG by himself.
Plans have not been.
We're leaving at 5. leaving the MIG here by himself.
You're
and you
hosting for an hour and a
down
half
there.
on your own.
I
Mig.
assume
He
you
says
were.
thumbs up. He's
I
good
was
with
going
it.
to say, remind you to wear a diaper since you can't go to the bathroom.
I
But you
heard,
always do
yeah.
anyway, so I didn't really have to worry about it.
He's handling the cancellation actually much better than I thought he would. Andy Serling. But the good news, we have a little bit more time for Game of Silks.
Yes.
Right? We have the reveal where the metaverse meets horse racing ownership, right? So we have your next envelope. You're building your stable.
I haven't looked at this
Let's
one yet.
cue the animation.
I haven't looked yet. It's exciting. That's Richie.
Yeah, yours says Andy number 1.
I know. I've got 4 letters. He's got 6. So that's the way I can. Okay. So it's 3 though. This is really 3, isn't it?
Right, because you already have 2 in your stable.
Yes.
You described your first.
Oh, wait, they've got it up already. I got an audible. That
Look at
looks
that.
exciting right away.
Look at that.
Ooh, 150,000 this one sold for. Let's
That's
see
better
what we
than
got
the
here.
one you described as a can of
Third
squid
dam is
yesterday.
personal ensign. Got some big pedigree back there. I'm excited by this one. I'm going to have to do some research and see who bought this horse. It looks like, I don't know for sure where this is sold. I can't tell from here. Do we know? I saw Personal Ensign break her maiden first time out. I saw almost every one of her races in person.
All 13.
Yeah, I didn't see
It
them all
might have
picture.
been foggier the day she won the Breeders' Cup Distaff over winning colors at Churchill Downs back in 1988.
The single worst weather ever at a racetrack, but maybe the greatest Breeders' Cup we've ever had.
88 was
I mean,
awesome.
it was an
88
incredible
was
day of racing. It was a miserable, freezing cold, awful day, but some of the great races. So I'm excited here. I got an audible that's related to Personal Ensign. This is very exciting.
Not a can of squid.
Not a can of squid.
Not a can of squid.
And all kidding aside, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and we'll be following this up, as we get close more into the year.
Yeah.
A very exciting game. I really have no trouble. We promote things sometimes here, and you feel like you're doing a little tongue-in-cheek. I don't feel like that with the Game of Silks. I think it's an extremely clever idea, and I think it's a way for people to get involved in horse ownership for a fraction of the costs of being involved in horse ownership and finding out what it's like to be an owner a little bit, learn about owner problems a little bit, follow your horses. Some of these horses are going to end up in 2-year-old sales, see them working out, see what barns they end up with, and obviously there is an NFT for every horse. Mm-hmm. So out there, yes, there are a number of cans of squid, as we said yesterday. There's also a Derby winner out there, and quite a few other major race winners out there as well. And some people are going to get them, and it's going to be a fun game. You can buy them. You can buying horses, buy pieces of horses. A lot of stuff going on. Check it out at gameofsilks.io.
Yeah, Silks.io.
Yep.
And there it is for more information. That 3D interactive website. You get the data, the NFT likeness of a racehorse, and turning horses into like a digital asset. And Andy's stable is getting stronger by the day. And one more envelope to open a little bit later on.
And I do want to let people know that while you played at home, you get 1% of the horse's earnings. If they become stallions, you participate in that as well. If they become broodmares, participate. Any money that's made here is going to charity. We're not making money here. I hate to break this to you. Are you getting any horses? I know the MIG's already spent his.
I made that request and was told there was no guarantee I'd be here the remainder.
Well, I haven't given the okay yet, so we'll see how things go at Times Square tonight.
Day to day. Day to day. Oaklawn.
It's a big night for you.
They're in the paddock at Oaklawn. All 2-year-olds all the time. The 4th race coming up in about 11 minutes. Happy New Year from all of us at America's Day at the Races. Coverage continues when we come back. Just getting started on Fox Sports 2.
Are running, the Run Happies are selling, the Run Happies are winning. Eclipse champion Run Happy is showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also showing winners at all distances, from 7 furlongs to 1.25 miles. A sire whose runners can carry his speed over all distances and all surfaces. Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Secretariat now by 5 lengths.
Few horses have stood in esteemed stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm, and all of them champions, legends of the sport.
And down the stretch they come. Unbridled takes command.
Who influenced the generations that followed. Today, stall number 1 belongs to Run Happy, who is looking to create champions in the generations to come.
Bold Ruler, Secretariat, Easy Goer, Unbridled, and then Run Happy. Each of those horses were North American champions at one point in their careers.
All in line, and they're off. Secretariat by 7. Secretariat 8 lengths. Bentley just hand-guided under the wire. He takes this in cover by 2.5 lengths.
You got to basically be a champion to live in that stall, and certainly Run Happy was.
Run Happy's got him. Run Happy has won the
Whoever's after Run Happy will have to make sure he was a champion as well. Hopefully Run Happy will be able to keep his name on the door and add to the list of great horses that live in that stall.
The greats that have stood in stall 1, Claiborne Farm. As always, our coverage brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Speaking of greatness, joined by Aqueduct's all-time leading jockey on the set here, Richie Migliori. Richie, happy New Year's Eve to you.
Yeah.
A question about the conditions here. You rode on days like this many times here at Aqueduct. Were you caught off guard when the announcement was made that the remainder of the program was being canceled?
I'm actually shocked. I had gone out to the paddock to get ready because I was going to be reporting downstairs. Decided, let me get a different jacket because it was just, drizzling a little bit. Came back in, was informed that we canceled. Certainly rode in conditions that were far worse than this. And you can kind of see, you've got visibility from the stands for at least a quarter of a mile. I'm just a little bit puzzling.
There was a day last year, I remember we did a show, and it seemed visibility was less than it is today. And I remember asking you specifically, as bad as it looks on television, as little as you can see on television, what about for the riders out there? Are you out there riding blind? And you said, no, it's actually okay. You can see it's much better for the riders than it is for us watching on the monitor.
Even when we've ridden, when it was as thick as pea soup, you could see around you enough. And, I understand if the stewards can't see the horses at all. And the finish line, it's hard to discern maybe who won, if you will, right? But that's not the case today. You can actually see all the way to the top of the stretch from where we're sitting at our vantage point. I'm surprised.
And unlike a lot of deers that you rode, and I as a fan was going and saw them running, we're using multiple camera angles. We have guys positioned out there to get different and fresh camera angles to show them at different points in the race, something that didn't happen 20, 30 years ago when we would never have canceled a day like today. Yeah. But whatever the case is, we have canceled, and once again, that Pick 6 carryover will be paid out tomorrow, mandatory payout tomorrow. Today's
Refund
Pick
today.
6, if you were involved, refund.
We hardly ever cancel before cold. We got to get to Oaklawn.
Yep.
I'll follow up with this after.
Okay. To be continued, as is the racing from Oaklawn. All 2-year-olds today. Stars of tomorrow, turning 3 in a matter of hours. Tomorrow, the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn. Live coverage right here on America's Day at the Races. Moon over Dubai at 33-1 draws the rail after drawing the parking lot in the debut.
But was 33-1 that day, interestingly enough. Didn't know running in the slop. Been gelded since and gets Lasix.
Number 2 is King Russell. One geared in his first pair in Kentucky.
Yeah, he stretched out the second time, took some money, and kind of regressed in that start. Can he get back to his first start?
Hard to come by. Hasn't been close in 3 dirt races.
I'm going to be betting on this horse. I have absolutely no idea why this horse is 10-1 in here. Has run fast enough to win here, and in my opinion, is a massive overlay.
Andy trying to smoke out a long shot. There's My Spirit, Donald Disney owned first-time starter.
Horse had a really good OBS work in 10-1, courtesy of Andy Sterling.
Sun Thunder, expensive and the favorite.
Richie's lying. He watched that replay while he was getting ready. This horse ran a little bit faster on the speed figure than the number 3 did, but is 8-5, and the 3 is 11-1. I know where to find the value.
Macho Villa, it's been a real struggle. Number 7, Winamac Avenue, clumsy start in his debut.
Did take some money that day in the slop, but I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of a fuzzy.
The Heights, John and Anthony debuting homebred.
Half to Caddo River, who's been very successful there at Oaklawn. Mare's had 3 foals to race, all winners.
Smarty Jones winner, Caddo River, number 9, a Miller's Right. A tough sledding thus far.
Does finally. It says the track excuse me, is muddy.
right?
I think it's actually was good last I looked, and it's harrowed and different. This horse comes off 2 sloppy seal tracks.
Running block. He's run second in 3 of 7.
Yeah, it just feels like he'd have to run a little bit faster. I've thought the Remington Park form has handled itself well at Oaklawn.
Number 11, Profound Impact. First time started by Frosted. Looks nothing like Daddy.
You just don't, Robertino Dora, you don't think of him that often with first-time starters, but he can win with one.
Caesar Normandy. First time around 2 turns.
Yeah, and he's shown speed sprinting. He's going to need to use some of that speed from that post to not get caught wide into that first turn. Not a big run to that turn.
2-year-olds, maiden special weight, $90,000 purse, and you're looking at the Colt getting hammered. 6 to 5. Sun Thunder, $400,000 into mischief Colt. We have boots on the ground at Oaklawn Park. Paula Duca joining the show. Polly, Sun Thunder, what can you tell us about this 6 to 5 favorite? Nice day there at Oaklawn, by the way. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys as well. As the last calendar date here at Oaklawn for 2022. And, I get where the public's going here with Sun Thunders as your favorite for Kenny McPeak. Heavy favorite, actually, when you look into the pick 3 Will Pays. This is a horse that got left at the start in a 1-turn race, but didn't take really that much money at Churchill Downs first time out, and did run nicely. I thought it was a good effort. If you look, just really sort of past certain sources here, but the horse that won the race determinately won off. So he just missed second that day. And you get a bullet work coming through on the mud. Now, you guys were talking about the racetrack. I heard Andy. It's really tough. It's a tiny bit cuppy. There is some moisture, but I would tend, it's getting towards fast. Now, we've had 3 races so far, 2 gate-to-wire winners, and we had Ron Moquette, first-time starter, run down the pace setter at the wire. So I think you have to be somewhat close. So Sun Thunder at 6 to 5, do you really want to take that? Now, the heights, the 8, we always go, okay, it's Brad Cox. We always go by the board. Well, this horse is not taking money on the board here. Son of Nyquist, first-timer for Joe Talon, who's been riding a lot of the Brad Cox surrenders. So, I thought, maybe look at the board and see how that horse is being played. The other one is the 11, obviously, for Robertino Diodoro. Orlando Mojica, I know he's 0 for 16, but Diodoro rides him a ton. That's another horse not taking action. I thought the 7 was very interesting. That was a horse that was brought in from Chicago to Churchill Downs, took some money first time out, and just had a brutal beginning. Son of Taprit should like the 2 turns, and usually Jimmy DeVito's horses show speed, so I would think Christian Torres maybe can send the 7. Maybe you'll see a little bit more speed than you saw in the last race, and I'm in agreement with Andy. The 3 maybe not can win this race, but at 12 to 1, that's a ridiculous price. I thought this horse would be half the price. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot against the 5 because one number of horses will kill you in the long run, and I'm going to take a shot with the 7 here. Winnapack, is that how you say it? Winnemac Avenue.
Winnemac Avenue, Paulie, your top selection. Just a 1 start, a little bit clumsy getting out of the blocks. If he breaks clean today, perhaps more tactical speed. Winnemac Avenue. Somebody dropped the crop. Was it the 8 horse? Who was on the 8? Joe Talamo. Doesn't happen often pre-race, does it, Nick?
Not a good sign when it happens pre-race.
Right?
I've seen riders in the past and start dropping their crop in the post-parade. Tighten up the ship.
Well, I guess better to drop it beforehand. At least you can get it back.
JK, how about a fresh face, a first-time starter? My Spirit, number 4, relatively cold on the board, 11 to 1.
I wouldn't necessarily say cold. It's just at Oaklawn, they don't have the clocker community they have at other racetracks where the buzz can kind of get out on a horse. It's a little bit more quiet. And when you have a horse like the 5 Sun Thunder who has a race where they were finishing going 7, now they're getting an opportunity to go a little bit longer. They have the quote-unquote fastest speed figure in a race where there's just not any speed figures to lean on. I think people make the mistake that the 5 Sun Thunder wants to go further. I just think that that's a lazy opinion at 6 to 5. He can absolutely win. I'm going to take the 4 here, My Spirit, and then I'll take the 8, the Heights. Short Leaf Stable. This is a home game for them. Brad Cox tries to win for them first out. You saw what he did with Caddo River. I just think that these are the 2 horses that present a little bit of value. They're overbetting the 5.
Taking a shot against
I like the 3.
Sun Thunder. Andy with hard to come by.
I bet the 3. I think he's a ridiculous overlay here at 13-1.
12-1, 13-1. Last we saw these 2-year-olds, 1 mile, $90,000 purse. Vic Stauffer with the load-in call, 4th race from Oaklawn.
Last to load, Seas of Normandy. They're at the post. They're off. Seas of Normandy broke well, so did the Heights and Miller's Right. My Spirit's on the move. In the center is Profound Impact. Winnemac Avenue is next, then Macho Villa, Sun Thunder. At the rail, Moon Overdue By, and just outside of him, Hard to Come By. The 2 trailers are King Russell, and the trailer at the back of the pack is Runnin' Block. To the backstretch they run, and Miller's Right is the leader. He's a length in front of Seas of Normandy in second. Then to the inside, and the Heights, third and about 2 from the front. Then Profound Impact. Winnemac Avenue is alongside My Spirit. They're both about 4 from the front and 2 in front of Sun Thunder, Macho Villa, and in the center, Hard to Come By. Another 2.5 back, 2. King Russell and Moon Overdue By. The trailer is still Runnin' Block midway on the backstretch. Finish line 16th pole, and Miller's Right is getting there first. It is Miller's Right, 3/4 of a length. 2 to the outside, and Seas of Normandy, and here's Profound Impact, 3 deep. These 3 right across the racetrack. 2.5 back, 2. The Heights, Winnemac Avenue, and My Spirit. Sun Thunder is 7th, but he's advancing. Here's Sun Thunder in the green cap. Could be heard from yet late. Here's Sun Thunder now moving strongly, and Sun Thunder is going to make a big rush all the way up to go from 7th to the front at the top of the stretch. A monster move from Sun Thunder, who suddenly lands 3 lengths in front. The Heights has moved up on the outside. Then comes Seas of Normandy, but it's Sun Thunder, and he is dominating. Sun Thunder, the Heights, King Russell up into second now. Sun Thunder in front. Big win for Sun Thunder. He won by 7. King Russell was second, Seas of Normandy third. Close for 4th between Winnemac Avenue and Miller's Right.
Could see that coming. Engage the leaders with ease, and Sun Thunder, the favorite, delivers, dominating in this 4th race at Oaklawn to graduate in his 2nd career start.
They were moving pretty quickly up front. Anytime you look at it and the pace looks honest and the leader is 73-1, there's a good chance the race is going to fall apart, and they found the right favorite.
Yeah, kind of made that big brush around the turn, though. It was kind of impressive. You saw when he jumped in, it was basically going to be over. A nice run from the 2, King Russell, to rally to be second.
Kenny McPeak, trained runner. He won last year's Smarty Jones with Dak Attack on New Year's Day. Sun Thunder, that $400,000 Into Mischief colt, dominant in the 4th at Oaklawn. Results coming up. We will step aside, take a deep breath, and pause. We'll be joined by a new audience as our coverage continues on this New Year's Eve. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Live racing from Tampa Bay Downs. Oaklawn Aqueduct has canceled. But much more still coming your way as our coverage continues. Results from Oaklawn and the 6th from Tampa Bay Downs is next as we welcome in new viewers. You're looking at Oaklawn Park. This is America's Day at the Races. Great to have you with us. Happy New Year from all of us. Happy New Year's Eve from all of us. On America's Day at the Races, alongside Andy Serling, Richie Migliori, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. The plan was to have the late pick 4 here from Aqueduct. We still had the Queens County, the feature today on this New Year's Eve, but about 35 minutes ago, it was announced, Richie, that the remainder of the program at Aqueduct has been canceled due to the fog and lack of visibility.
Yeah, I mean, it is somewhat foggy. I think we've raced through worse conditions than this, but this was the call that was made. So we are going to make the best of it with Tampa and Oaklawn Park.
There is a rumor, and I'm not saying it's completely untrue, that we canceled so Richie could be a buffer between Lafitte and I. He's a little scared of me. I don't want to make a big deal about it.
So part of the story today, there was the $22,000 pick six carryover, Andy. So now what happens with the remainder of the program canceled?
Pick six will be refunded. First two races. The bet is not a real bet after two bets. It's in the rules, and most players know that. So win, lose, or draw, you get your money back if the first two legs, and we will pay out the carryover tomorrow is a mandatory payout, as if tomorrow is today. And I'm hopeful that they'll bring back that Queens County
good.
race.
Looking forward to seeing.
I'd like to do a segment if we had more time to repair. Richie and I could have gone over some of our favorite winners of the Queens County over the years. And hopefully it was a good race. They'll bring it back next week.
We have all the time you need.
You must have won it, Richie.
I did on Mr. Sinatra by a nose over, I believe, delay of game, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you remember the phone call about delay of game? Richie was riding Mr. Sinatra in the Stuyvesant or the Stymie.
Okay.
And I called you because he was scratched. And I said to you, well, there's a cinch in the race now, delay a game. And you started looking at the race. I said, he's lone speed. Samin was riding him. And you said to me, you're right.
Yep.
He's lone speed. He's going to win. He paid $38.
Yeah, and that's who I caught right on the wire in the Queens County because he was a speed horse, Rusty Arnold.
Yeah, Rusty Arnold. Nice horse.
We start going down memory lane. No trouble filling for the next several hours.
Queens County's had some terrific. I mean, there's some really good horses in there, like a Personal Flag, who's the foal to Personal Ensign, as well as some really good hard knockers.
Have some hard knockers in the sixth race, Tampa Bay Downs, a $5,000 restricted claimer. Their stay home drawn inside 5-1.
Don't look at me. I don't have any PPs.
All right. I got this.
Flat VK.
Drops in class off of some good efforts at Monmouth.
Like handicapping on the fly, because that never happens in television and horse racing. Hot and heavy, Carlos Rojas aboard.
Any Seinfeld fans out there, Hot and Heavy was a funny episode. This is how you fill.
There was a great one. There's so many Seinfeld episodes.
Andy going on Seinfeld. That's another way to fill. Rookie Salsa.
I work with a guy who has never watched it.
Who's never watched it?
Stabile.
Never watched Seinfeld?
It's absurd.
Really?
He's a character on it.
No commission. Would be a big surprise.
Would be a big surprise. Dropped slightly in class.
The favorite, Bazoo, it's 6-5.
He has been running very competitively at this level and turns back an eighth of a mile to where he ran his best effort, two back.
Is it Kevin Witt by New Year's Day? Hunch play at 13-1.
Yeah, and a horse that's shown good speed, going 5.5, gets Jose Ferrer, a guy I had the bug with who's still getting it done.
Preferred outcome by Bluegrass Cat, who I believe won a Tampa Bay Derby, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think.
Horse well drawn outside, should be coming from off the pace.
Runner-up in the Derby to Barbaro in 2006, Bluegrass Cat. See what preferred outcome does in this upcoming sixth race at Tampa Bay Downs. We'll step aside. When we return, you're going to see this one live, plus the two-year-olds, all two-year-olds at Oaklawn Park. As our coverage continues on this New Year's Eve, Fox Sports 2 on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's got to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathon grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathon has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 Wanda, 300,000. 275, medium 275,000. 75, but to get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Here, but to get $200,000.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007 we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Back just in time at the gate for the 6 at Tampa. Andy just got his past performances, and he says, wait a second, I love somebody at Tampa.
I have good info. We're bringing back the Queens County next Saturday.
That's really good news.
That's good. Yep.
And by the way, it's clear out.
It is
You
kind
can
of
see
clear.
all the way the backstretch.
It is kind of clear.
Yeah.
Couldn't we have just had like a weather delay?
Well, it's hard with darkness. We could have just run. We wouldn't even be on post time for the 7th race.
It might have been prudent to just see if you could wait it out a few minutes and see what transpired.
Glad to hear that Queens County will be run next Saturday. You'll see it right here on America's Day at the Races, along with the 6th race at Tampa Bay Downs. Jason Beam standing by with the load-in call. It's post time.
Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Bazoo got away in good order. Here's Rookie Salsa driving through in between horses, and Rookie Salsa up to put a nose in front of Bazoo and those two. Speed away in the early going, a length and a half in front of Black VK in the purple colors, who's up to 3rd. Hot and Heavy right to that one's outside is 4th, 2.5 off the speed. It's another length and a half, then back to Stay Home. Kevin Whitty's up from the outside, taking over that 6th position. Then comes No Commission, and Preferred Outcome is at the back early on. As they head up the back stretch, Rookie Salsa and Bazoo. Those two on pretty much level terms as they go into the fire turn, 22 and 4. The time for that opening quarter mile, Bazoo now forges to a head advantage. Inside of that one comes Rookie Salsa. They've gotten away by 3 now to Hot and Heavy, who travels nicely, is up to 3rd. Backing up Black VK. No Commission tries to move up outside of that runner from 5th. Then comes Stay Home. Nothing yet from Kevin Whitty or Preferred Outcome as Bazoo the leader. Rookie Salsa trying to keep with that favorite on the inside as they spin to the top of the stretch. Bazoo and Rookie Salsa. Hot and Heavy has 3 lengths to find to pick up the top 2. Then comes Black VK, and down the outside, No Commission. Bazoo gets the green light now. It's Bazoo in front by just over a length. Rookie Salsa battling on toward the inside. Then comes Hot and Heavy. Bazoo and Antonio Gardo clear with 50 yards to go. Bazoo going to go on to win it here, 2.5 in the end. Second looked like Rookie Salsa held on over Hot and Heavy. 4th was Black VK, and 5th Stay Home.
Bazoo, the favorite. They were all blanked this year. Bazoo, on the final day of the year, gets his first win in his 8th try. Bazoo at Tampa, the favorite scores.
And pretty much a winner every step of the way. He was cruising under Antonio Gallardo, who's put together another terrific year. Over 145 wins this year for him.
Wow.
And Rookie Salsa hung on well. They were 1-2 around the racetrack. Hot and Heavy nearly got up for 2nd in your exact.
Real merry-go-round race. It looked like Hot and Heavy was poised to at least make some kind of run and couldn't even get up for 2nd.
Sun Thunder at Oaklawn, meantime, making it look all too easy. The Into Mischief expensive colt, $400,000 purchase for Kenny McPeak. At that point, Richie, just a question of how far.
Yeah, he made that kind of brush move around the turn, just picked up his horses quite easily, quite readily, hit the front, ears went up. But the Into Mischiefs are just, they run.
Amazing.
What an incredible sire he has become.
No, and he's one of these horses who's turning out a little Speightstown in him. I mean, as far as his diversity, this horse winning going long. They're not just horses that are better going shorter. We'll see some win on the turf as well. I mean, he's a remarkable sire, and that's why he stands for what he does, and that's why his horses are so popular in the sales ring.
And many of those as you can possibly get in Game of Silks, right? As many of those as you can get in your stable.
I mean, none of us have gotten anything that good. I guess you'd be really lucky to get an Into Mischief.
Right? Like real lucky. We'll see how it goes. We continue to unveil the selections. The draft day continues, draft New Year's weekend. And that's what's next here on America's Day at the Races. It's Game of Silks. Again, it's where the metaverse meets horse racing ownership. And he was very pleased with his draw a little bit earlier, the Audible colt, right?
Is this my next one?
This is your next one.
Is Richie stealing it from me?
I'm not giving it to you.
He's the holder of the envelopes.
Over here.
I might take it back.
I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked yet. Am I going to be excited here, guys? Oh, apparently I'm going to be excited. Whoa! Wow. This one sold for $1.35 million as a Into Mischief. To have to nickname who won the. By the way, she won the Frisette.
And this is a filly. Her name is Citational.
Citational?
And we just
Are you sure she won the Frisette? Because your knowledge about the history of the Frisette, as we learned yesterday, is a little suspect.
I know you're upset that I got a very expensive yearling, but try not to
I'm a
embarrass
little
yourself
jealous.
too much in front of our viewers, okay?
She will be 2 in like less than 12 hours.
You have a name for her?
Her name is Citation.
Oh, Citational. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope she's as good as Citation. Wow, this is amazing. 1.35? So I can sell this horse for $13,500 and right away?
You want to see her?
I know, I'm excited. Do we know who has her? Cortland Farm has
Cortland
her.
Farm,
So maybe she could be Shug? Shug could have her?
Shug or Steve Asmussen has some horses for Cortland as well. And
that's...
I tell you, she got some size and scope to her,
That's
Andy. I think
Keeneland,
you,
right?
you knocked it out of the park here.
Wow, I'm excited. Looking forward to this one. I'll have to text Steve and see if he has this horse.
If she's in Saratoga, will you go out to the barn to see her?
You know me, I love getting up early in the morning. I think the better question is whether if she's with Steve or Shug's barn, if they'll allow me in the barn. I don't think it's sort of a dead heat between whether or not I get up early enough or they'll allow me. Yes, I will go see her. For sure I will. Are you kidding me? This is awesome. Wow.
1-3.
You know, yeah.
That is a home run.
I'm keeping her.
I was the underbidder, actually, so it's good that I got it as my horse. Richie, we're all sharing together. We're all partners. We're all partners. we sink or swim together. If this horse does well, you and I will be partners, every one of us. This is not about you or me or anybody. It's all about the team.
You hear that?
I'm serious. This is not
Remember,
about
there's no I in team. Remember that.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. We succeed or we fail together.
That is a home run.
We were talking off camera though how cool this is, and like especially when we were younger, how crazy we would have been about this. Like you know,
I agree. Well, you and I mean, you're the one that hooked me on Gallop Racer, and I went to stay with Richie for about a week while he was riding that at Gulfstream when we were coming back to ride, and we started playing Gallop Racer, and so I went home and bought it and spent literally the entire winter. I'd get home from work, 'cause I was working trading, so I'd get home relatively early by 5:30 or so, maybe even earlier, and basically go to bed sometime around 2 after laying on the couch and playing Gallop Racer.
So this is why now he believes he's an expert on race riding.
Yeah,
Now
I actually
we
think
know why.
I created this monster.
Well, there's a whole lot of reasons. And one of them is that I believe I'm better than everybody at everything. That's another thing. There's a whole lot of issues going on here. I was actually getting my kitchen redone, so I only had like half of my living room was like usable, and I just went in and laid on the couch and played Gallop Racer. It was great.
It was a fun game.
Yeah, it was a great
admittedly,
game.
and I got
Watching
into breeding
jockeys
them.
play it,
Yeah.
that is pure
We had a lot of fun.
entertainment. For more information, Silks.io for more information. That 3D interactive website. Andy with an absolute home run in addition to his stable. Wow.
I want to say that everybody will be sharing in this. It's not a competition. It's the luck of the draw.
It's a competition.
Well, it would be if we chose them. It's random. So
we have more 2-year-olds at Oaklawn Park making their way trackside. We'll have the post-parade when we come back. Arkansas bred sprinting 6 furlongs next in Hot Springs.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of Dubawi standing in Kentucky. Dubawi, one of the world's most celebrated stallions, is now a sire of sires. His top sons at stud are making a name for themselves across the globe. With a picture-perfect pedigree, this son of Dubawi brings one of the world's most potent bloodlines to America. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
America's Day at the Races, as always, brought to you in part by Run Happy. Number 1, second crop sire of last year by dirt earnings. Arkansas bred 2-year-olds from Oaklawn. Post parade here, 6 furlong sprint, $90,000 purse. Saw a favorite dominate in the 4th. 7-5 favorite here, Stuck in Snow, number 9 at 7-5. Have a chance to see him in a moment. We begin with Ready Shoes at 25-1. Byron Brockman owned first-time starter.
Just not a lot of pedigree on this one, to say the least. The one fall from the dam did no running.
Long shots to the inside. KJ's Legacy beat 1 horse in his debut.
Yeah, brief speed in the slop. Was well beaten by Stuck in Snow. Would have to really turn around. Didn't take any money either on debut.
Black Apple, the gray or roan there, the John Ed Anthony owned debuting colt.
This one I thought was interesting. 3 to full foals were okay, running Beyer speed figures in the 70s or 80s.
Number 4, He's Rich, 14-1 on his toes.
Yeah, on his toes, and actually comes in with a pretty steady work tab.
There's a little bit of pedigree from them. You look at the dam, the foals, they're not bad from this dam.
Imperial Shadow at 21-1.
Nothing I could find in the pedigree to see anything.
Brian Calloway debuting homebred, Miri A Coincidence, Travis Wales.
Yeah, Mare's had 4 foals to race, all winners. 1 debut winner, Cinnamon Victory, who was very impressive on debut last year at Oaklawn against Arkansas Breds.
King Peanut, yet another first-time starter, 7-1.
Some money coming in here for our man Danny Pites. I miss Danny.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Languel River, another fresh face, 34-1, very cold.
Yeah, Mare was a debut winner. Sometimes the precocity shows up in the family, but cold on the board.
Favorite, Stuck in Snow, one of the very few with experience.
I mean, this horse ran okay against Opens, a 60 Beyer. You have to think if this horse can run back to a 60 Beyer last time, pretty likely winner.
How are we saying this, Andy? The first-time starter of the 10?
I'm leaving it to Paul. Paul, I want Paul to get this one, okay? I don't want to steal his thunder.
Southern Spring homebred at 15-1.
Chupapi Mayeo.
Trained by Ron Marquette, who's gotten off to a tremendous start at this Oaklawn Park meeting.
Fiercey Road and a Randy Patterson-owned first-time starter.
1 fall from the dam ran okay. The other 5, not so much.
Not so much. Cadillac Cowboy, Carl Moore Management debuting gelding.
Taking some money, a half to Iowa Sky, who was a big debut winner. 1 start, 1 win by about 12 lengths. So the mare can throw a runner.
There's another guy in racing. It's H. Allen.
Oof.
Big shoes to fill.
Big name to live up to.
Stuck in Snow. We mentioned the experience. This is his 2nd career start on a wet track. He showed more speed and eventually fades, but again, compared to most of these and all the first-time starters, this experience should go a long way to help him this afternoon.
I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised this one is as high as 2-1 in here. Now, you look at a couple of firsters. The 12, no surprise, Joe Sharp, taking some money out in the outside. And the one we mentioned, Black Apple, that's a half to a few foals that ran very well. So maybe one of those are runners, but considering what this horse did, you would think 2-1 is a fairly generous price considering the performances.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was supposed to be a shorter price. I really didn't like what I saw there, though, in the replay. The horse trying to lug in, got to the leader like he was going to go on to win, and really gave the rider fits. Luis Quinones trying to keep him straight, and then he flattened out late. Maybe he just needed the race from a fitness level. I just don't like when I see horses have that propensity to lug in.
Something to watch from the favorite. Stuck in Snow, like where's Waldo, where's Paul LaDuca? New location, I understand. Paul, where you at?
We're at the classic snack shop. You know, Andy always talks about I need some break from some weather, but yeah, I get my coffee here, get a nice little koozie too. Koozie big around here in Arkansas as we get to race number 5 here to close out your pick 5. Hopefully you're live. They're paying pretty well in here. The 9 Stuck in Show for Donnie Von Hemel. I thought this horse obviously is the one to be. Comes in with some decent races, but seems like the horses that have gotten a work over the track have run a little bit better. Chupapi Bumaneo. Yeah, I asked Ron Moquette, and he's just like, I couldn't really understand him. I asked him if your 10 horses live, and he said, listen, if the horse breaks, the horse is dead live. He's been having some issues at the gate, but the horse has got a very big shot in here. I also thought the 3 Black Apple for Johnny Ortiz. I thought the 11 was very sneaky in here for PC Rose and John Prather. Christian Torres, the leading rider here, is another horse that's very, very interesting. And the best part about coming up here, I want Sarah come with me. If you actually have a bad beat, you just go to the first aid room and get all bandaged up, guys.
Way out of
Hoping Polly doesn't have to make a visit. Stay safe. Out there at Oaklawn Park, the energy on a day-to-day basis, guys, the fan base at Oaklawn, especially on the bigger days and the big crowds that they do have, again, they absolutely love their racing, and rightfully so. And, JK, we'd love for you to give us a winner in this 5th race at Oaklawn Park. We have Stuck in Snow as the favorite at 2-1. Him or someone else?
Look, I feel Paul on that. I've needed first aid after a tough day at the races as well. I think the 7 King Peanut is interesting, taking some money. And if you look at the siblings, 4 of them have been winners, so that's nice. But also, they've also shown some speed throughout their career. At one point, shown a little bit of speed. So I think King Peanut might be fast, facing a bunch of unexperienced horses. I think being forward is a huge edge. And as far as the 10, Chupapi Muñeño, if you ever find yourself scrolling on Instagram or TikTok like I have done from time to time in the morning when I'm bored with nothing else to do, this is a little fellow that sneaks up behind people, and he, like, in a very high-pitched way, says it in their ear, and they get very upset. He says, Chupapi Muñeño.
Does that mean going to punch you in the mouth? I mean, you think of it, someone comes up and sneaks up on you and screeches in your ear, what's going to happen?
You're big on TikTok, Andy. You didn't know this.
I'm actually more interested in the sad news in Arkansas that I believe Southland Park Greyhounds closing. Is it possible I read that today was the last day? So you've no interest in Southland Park was the biggest Greyhound racing track in the country.
And never,
not big on the Greyhounds?
Never went, no.
Oh, no, the Greyhounds. You never went to Greyhounds? You guys
Greyhounds?
You don't know what degeneracy is. You've never been to
race
Greyhounds.
In fog?
Yeah, they race in the fog. Everybody raced in the fog but us.
How do they see the rabbit?
Guys, you guys have no degeneracy in you. I used to go to Hollywood Park with Andy Byer. Hollywood Dogs.
In Florida.
Yeah.
I actually went and played poker in that poker room, a little seedy.
I used to go with my dad. We used to go to Green Mountain for the dogs. Hinsdale once.
I went to thoroughbred racing at Green Mountain.
Wonderland was up in Boston. Go there. I went to Flagler with your boy Sean.
Off the rails.
Did you yell at the jockeys there?
Actually, all the dogs get good rides.
Off the rails.
What about them wide-running dogs, though? They lose all that ground.
Vic Stauffer with the call. Post time, Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. KJ's Legacy and Myria Coincidence break well. King Peanut is close up. Stuck in Snow and Cadillac Cowboy break well as well. Then He's Rich, followed by Imperial Shadow, Black Apple, and Chupapi Muñeño. Piercy Road has 2 beat. They are Langy River, and the trailer is Ready Shoes. Into the far turn with KJ's Legacy and Myria Coincidence. They're matching strides and a length in front of Stuck in Snow. He's Rich in a tight spot at the rail. These 4 and King Peanut is part of that battle as well. Then it's 5 lengths back to Cadillac Cowboy. Chupapi Muñeño has 9 to come. He's about to be joined and passed by Piercy Road. Here's Piercy Road. He's running on nicely. He's just moved up into 6, but could be heard from on the money. Piercy Road is on the move. So at the top of the stretch, it's Stuck in Snow and Myria Coincidence. A length and a half to Chupapi Muñeño. In the center, King Peanut. And King Peanut has now struck to the front. It's King Peanut, 2 lengths in front of Stuck in Snow in a second. Then comes to the outside, and Piercy Road might get into third, but it's King Peanut clear to the wire, and he's got it. King Peanut opens up and wins. King Peanut won by about 7. It is close for second. I think Stuck in Snow just held off Chupapi Muñeño. Piercy Road finished 4th.
Convincing score by the first-time starter for trainer Danny Pites. King Peanut in the 5th at Oaklawn.
This is a an Arkansas bred to keep an eye on. I don't think that the 9 ran so badly here. I just think this horse exploded in here. I'll be interested to see how fast this race comes back because King Peanut, he was the king today.
Post-parade, he was around 7-1, 7-2.
Whoa.
At post-time as a co-second choice.
And he was very professional, too. You like when you see a horse break their maiden on debut, coming from off the pace, take a little kickback. And Danny Pite's not known for winning with first-time starters. His horses usually get better with racing, but he knows what to do with a good horse. Capote Bell won first time out for him many moons ago, a test winner.
No, she didn't.
She didn't win first time?
She lost to Dan Suz. Don't you remember?
Wow.
She lost to
No,
Dan
see,
Suz.
I don't remember that.
The Mark Hennig horse that was owned by December Hill Farm by Alan Dragone. The monster. She ran twice. She won her second start.
I know you say it.
She ran. She won the test 2.5 months later after losing her debut because she lost, I think, at Belmont.
That was impressive, Andy.
That was very impressive. And it was Dan Seuss who beat her 4.5 lengths. It was 16 lengths back to the third-place finisher. It was at Belmont.
We should have Mark Hennig on the show someday and ask him about Dan Suz, because I imagine if he looks back in his career, she's probably one of those horses that he may feel as bad about losing, not being able to run her. She only ran twice as any horse because she crushed
her pedigree.
Dan Suz,
Mr. Prospector at a Majinski mare.
Okay,
good call though.
Capote Bell won the test in like her fourth start or something. And Capote Bell was a monstrous talent. She was one of the favorites in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, I think.
Sprint, yeah. King Peanut at Oaklawn Park. When we come back, Steve Asmussen probably still wondering how Rich Strike defeated Epicenter last in the Derby, but the quest continues. He'll unleash a pair of 3-year-olds in tomorrow's Smarty Jones communication memo. And how did he do that as the road to the Arkansas Derby takes off?
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to get into this game. You can have a few $1,000s and have fun with it. But with the bonds, you're actually going to win. I've had the opportunity to win multiple races. In fact, this year I won 2 times in one day, which is almost unheard of to be able to do. This is going to happen with them. You will get into the winner's circle in Saratoga. You will walk that horse in, and you will stand there, look at the crowd, and the bonds will take you there and get you into that winner's circle. And it won't cost you a lot of money.
Consistently versatile with 25 Grade 1 winners on every surface from 6 furlongs to 1.25 miles all over the world.
Switzerland in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Switzerland wins.
Churls Fight running on. Mason in front. Churls Fight on the outside. At the wire. Photo for the win.
Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
All purpose, all places, all power. Speightstown.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit AmericasBestRacing.net today. Richie, that was impressive. This debuting colt by Mo for the Money and King Peanut leaving no doubt.
Yeah, really nice effort here. Love to see horses win with this kind of professionalism on debut and made that nice move again around the turn.
And a 1:11:68. Now, I haven't noticed the times earlier today. It feels like racehorse time for an Arkansas bred 2-year-old debuting, and I'll be interested, to see how it matches up to the upcoming race, the Renaissance. For open 2-year-olds, a stakes race, so you've got a nice horse in there, Two Eagles River, squaring off against Count de Monet, though I expect Two Eagles River to be an overwhelming favorite here. But I think it'll be interesting to see how does that time compare to these horses. Because he looked good.
He ran through the wire, too. Like, he really had his legs underneath him, no deterioration in his stride. King Peanut paying $9.20. Nice to see Danny Pikes with a good horseman who knows what to do when he has the stock to do it with.
And you're right, it wasn't about the favorite getting beat stuck in snow. That was all about King Peanut. Stepping up in his debut and one to follow moving forward. We turn the page. First of 2 stakes races. Again, it's all 2-year-olds today. This is the Renaissance. $150,000 purse, Andy. 6 furlong sprint. Field of 6 and 2 Eagles River 6-5 with about 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, that honestly, I thought he would be 2-5 or 3-5 in this race. The horse who beat him, Victory Formation, I believe, is the morning line favorite, about 7-5, and the Smarty Jones tomorrow stretching out. And I just thought he ran very, very well in both of his races. For Chris Hartman, his horses consistently seem to run well. Whereas Count de Monet, not that he didn't run well last time, and he beat the sort of much heralded Tyler's Tribe. Where did that big improvement come from? And you see it was 5.5 furlongs, an odd distance. It was in the slop, and I want to see it again. And I kind of feel like if you look at Frost's departure, the 2, look at how much his speed figure moved up for most of his races. I think Two Eagles River is the much more reliable of the 2.
Segue from the weekend stakes races, celebrating New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. From Oaklawn Park, cue the animation, the America's Best Racing's Race of the Week. Cue up the Fever, the newly turned 3-year-olds in the Smarty Jones, a field of 8, $250,000 purse, 1 mile, first step towards the Arkansas Derby. Let's start with number 3 in Communication Memo, 1 of 2 for trainer Steve Asmussen, 5-1 on the morning line. Richie, and his maiden score right there at Oaklawn.
Yes, I'm sorry. I lost my notes here, guys. I
don't have my PBs in front.
Yeah. This is real good.
What about the eye test, Andy? Did he pass the eye test?
Well, you know me and the eye test. Nobody loves the eye test like I do it. I think they're all going to have to beat Victory Formation if that one stretches out effectively. But I think when you get past him, he's one of the ones that has a chance to win. The thing I don't love is it took him a few starts to break his maiden, but maybe he's kind of turning it around. But I feel like Victory Formation maybe just really.
How do you do that at 12-1? And how does that Zia Park form? How will that transfer in terms of the competition he'll be facing tomorrow in the Smarty Jones?
Probably not that well as he stretches out. I think he's going to have to improve. But listen, maybe he's just an Asmussen horse that's finally getting it going at the right time. You know, I mean, that's one thing about Steve's horses. You see him win with a lot of firsters in Saratoga, but I think he's a trainer that one of the reasons he's as successful as he is that his horses, as much as anybody and more than many, they improve over time.
Improve over time. This horse does have some siblings that actually did okay as they stretched out in distances. This is his first time trying the mile distance in 2 turns. And it's about, who we see early that has speed and precocious, not always the horses that stretch out well. This horse has a lot of foundation.
And part of the story here for some of these 2-year-olds about to turn 3 is that they did miss some training along the way. And here's how trainer Steve Asmussen feels about that potential hurdle, getting these young 2-year-olds ready for tomorrow's Smarty Jones.
They'll all have to run over the same racetrack, but I am expecting, and obviously both of the entrants in the Smarty Jones, to benefit from racing recently, considering the training interruption with the weather we've had over Christmas. It's a great draw for his first 2-turn race. I think Isaac riding him last time, a little more familiar with him, and hopefully he'll respond with the chance for him to go 2 turns with his pedigree. Definitely think he can be in the mix. Ricardo gave him a great trip that day, and obviously a big jump up from his maiden victory to a stake, but won over the distance, over the surface, and it would be nice for him to repeat that sort of trip. This is obviously a big step for both of them, but it is the first of the 2-turn 3-year-old preps here at Oaklawn.
He's won just about every major horse race under the sun except a Kentucky Derby. Andy, I was on with you the day after this year's Kentucky Derby, and we discussed one of Steve Asmussen's quotes when he woke up the day after Rich Strike had defeated Epicenter. Of course, Asmussen trained Epicenter, saying, like, did that really happen? Did that really happen yesterday?
You can't blame the guy, and that's why that Travers had to be so incredibly satisfying
100%.
to him after the frustrations. Where I think that if you were Steve Asmussen, you'd ask yourself after the Preakness, the next day after the Preakness, and probably many days thereafter, why am I not heading to Belmont to be possibly a Triple Crown winner with this horse? He was that good. Unfortunately, his injury in the Breeders' Cup, it was kind of lost because of Flightline's devastatingly great performance, and that's good. We like the good stories. But and frankly, he'll be okay, and that's the most important thing. But I'm so sorry that we're not going to get to see Epicenter run this year, because I really thought he could have. He and Taba potentially could have been on a course to sort of have some major performances, and I'm going to miss Epicenter. I would vote for him over Taba if I had a vote, though I can understand.
I feel the same as you. If I had a vote, I would vote for him.
It's close.
Listen, not a slam dunk by any means.
Yeah.
I just thought the races he competed in, he developed a stronger resume for me.
Burning, polarizing topic right now.
No, I wouldn't argue with
racing.
Taba. I just think that Epicenter, I would vote for him, but I can understand the other argument. I'm not somebody who says it's absolutely one or the other, and I don't think you should be saying that.
No vote for Modern Games?
None.
Post time, Tampa, race 7. Here's Jason Beam.
And the race is on. Smithwick Spice, the favorite, broke beautifully, goes right to the front. Whiskey Plank and Prairie coming up to challenge from second and third, but Smithwick Spice has the rail advantage as they head into that first turn. In the second spot, Whiskey Plank out 3 deep there for Prairie in third. Heart Attack cuts the corner now to take over the fourth spot. On the far outside, Fierce Warrior is fifth, and on the couch, sixth in the trailer, about 6.5 off the lead. As they have just over 6 furlongs left to go, Smithwick Spice, Antonio Gallardo onto the backstretch, a length in front of Whiskey Plank, who now presses just a touch closer in second. A 3-wide trip there for Prairie on the first turn is third, a length and a half off the top. 2 more then back to Fierce Warrior, puts a nose into the fourth position. Heart Attack is back a spot in fifth. And it's 3 more then back to On the Couch, who trails. 24-2 for an opening quarter mile. Smithwick Spice leads them as they go toward the half-mile pole, length in front of Whiskey Plank, still to the outside. Prairie under a good hold in third. A length and a half more back to Heart Attack on the outside. Fierce Warrior, they race as a team fourth and fifth, and they're 3.5 clear of On the Couch. 48 seconds for that opening half mile. It's been all Smithwick Spice in front past the 3/8 pole. Now Prairie going to take a crack at this long-time leader, and here's Prairie right up alongside of Smithwick Spice. These two square off to the quarter pole. They're 3.5 ahead of Fierce Warrior. Down on the inside, Heart Attack. Whiskey Plank drop back to fifth. On the Couch is starting to close in, but still has about 6 or 7 to find. Prairie, the new leader, off the turn. Smithwick Spice had no answer. Is now a length and a half back in second. 3 more then back to On the Couch, who continues to progress down toward the inside. Smithwick Spice going to switch to the outside to try to take another crack at Prairie. Prairie got the jump. Smithwick Spice on the outside, a length and a half back with 50 yards to go. Prairie is in front. Prairie is a winner. Smithwick Spice was second. Heart Attack got up for third, over On the Couch fourth.
The Warfront gelding, Prairie, 4th lifetime win, taking down this 6th race at Tampa Bay Downs.
Well, they were the 2 horses, Prairie and the 2 Smithwick Spike, who had the dirt form going in. And, you look at this horse was in a scheduled dirt race 2 back and got an 85 buyer. And when you find horses that can run competitively in scheduled dirt races, running in off-the-turf races, those are the kind of horses that really have a huge advantage.
This is how good Andy Sterling is. Right before they go in the gate, he tells me, the 7 Prairie, he's the other horse. I think he'll beat the 2.
Wasn't that hard, but thank you.
And this is a horse bred by Claiborne Farmer and Adele Dilschneider, son of Warfront out of the Pulpit mare, Heath.
That Warfront, I think he has potential.
It's going to be all right.
Good sire.
Might be okay.
Looking forward to him, his horses.
Prairie at Tampa. Results forthcoming. Stakes racing at Oaklawn is next. The Renaissance Stakes. There is 2 Eagles River for Chris Hartman. Defeated a neck by the Smarty Jones favorite. Most recent victory formation. What'll he do today? The Renaissance Stakes next from Oaklawn Park.
Racing that he's achieved is extremely rare. Anybody who's witnessed Matoli running sees a level of ability that doesn't come along that often.
Matoli's a monster! Matoli wins the sprint! Oh, what a horse he is! Matoli, he did it again! Wins the mid-mile!
The only thing to be better than one Matoli's a few Matolis.
The mighty Matoli, who won the Corrigo by 3.5 lengths, the new stakes record.
Not flaking on me, are you, Andy? We're still headed to the city tonight, right?
Oh, yeah, we're going, yeah. No. I mean, as long as you got your diaper on.
Well, onesies. We decided on matching onesies.
Yeah.
Get it straight, man.
You know, the last time I saw
is the only one
Midnight,
in the crew allowed to wear a onesie.
What was that?
last time I saw Midnight, maybe 1981.
Seriously?
I can't stay up, man. I get up at 5.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't go to sleep, so I'll be up at midnight. I won't be doing anything, but a lot of midnight.
We'll be there.
You and I will be having.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Riding the ball on the way down. Look for us.
Game of Silks continues. So Andy just added a $1.3 million into Mischief Colt to his stable. Richie, your third round draft pick.
I'm nervous.
That whinnying's getting me a little
Let's
scared.
see. Oh, I've got a Caracanti at a grandma's hands. A lot of black type on the female side of the family. This horse was scratched out of the sale, so this did not sell. The mare has had 2 registered foals of racing age, only 1 to race, 1 winner in Mexico.
Oh.
Probably won the Puerto Vallarta handicap.
You sound like a 4-year-old kid who just got a bunch of clothes for Christmas, man.
That's a lot of those Christmases. I mean, it's just hard to get up after you see your colleague get a $1.35 million into Mischief.
Richie, we're partners in this horse. We're partners. Okay, I just want you to know.
Well, you always said like
we
a
sink or
good
swim
horse
together.
Can come from anywhere.
Like
the
good
Derby
horse.
winner last year was claimed for what? 16,000, whatever it was.
30,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good horse can't come from anywhere. More bad horses come from everywhere. No, listen. This is a young horse, going to turn 2 in a couple of hours. All race horses officially turn 2 New Year's Day. And you never know. You just never know. That's what's great about this game.
The $30,000 flame away. Of course, for more information, go to silks.io. Game of Silks. We'll be tracking these throughout. Not quite the $1.3 million into Mischief Colt that Andy got.
I feel bad. I got to be fair to this horse. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people looked at me when I said I was going to be a jockey and were like, yeah, you're right.
The all-time winningest jockey in the history of this great racing venue, Aqueduct. We have racing at Oaklawn and more 2-year-olds in the Renaissance Stakes. You're looking at Bourbon Bash. Dwayne Lucas back aboard his pony this week after breaking 5 ribs just weeks ago.
Tougher man than I am. This horse ran a fast figure, breaking a maiden second time out, and he's come nowhere close to it. But if he could find that race, he could be a player.
Frosted Departure, who was 4th behind Count de Monet in the Ardent Stakes.
Comprehensive campaign here. 9th start this year for a 2-year-old. Don't see that too often anymore.
Spurrier, naturally a Florida bred, debut winner at 23-1.
Won in the slop, so I have to do it again in the dirt, but didn't run badly, especially for a firster. And Ramaquet doesn't win with a lot of firsters.
2 Eagles River, 6-5 favorite. Nick Juarez takes over.
Good-looking son of Cloud Computing here, and the horse got a good style. He gets involved, but he can stalk.
Cloud's kind of an interesting horse going for. He's got a horse going to run, I think, in the Jerome next week.
Choctaw Zip, the Arkansas bred, graduated 3 weeks ago.
Will have to improve dramatically.
14-1, biggest price on the board. Count de Monet, the 15-1 Advent winner in the slop.
Yeah, it was impressive last time. Showed a little bit of a different dimension, sitting just off the pace in that pocketed trip. Should be stalking from the outside.
I think by post time, the number 4, 2 Eagles River, will probably be closer to 3-5. I'll be very surprised if you see anything close to even money, and I personally believe he should be 3-5.
And let's go back to Eagles River, his second career start, and he looks like he has the favorite for tomorrow, Smarty Jones, Victory Formation, absolutely beat.
Yeah, no, he does. I mean, he seems like he's making that winning move right here, but just didn't quite manage to get it done. But I still thought he ran very, very well in doing so. The other horse comes back on it on the inside to beat him, and he's a game runner. And, maybe that horse is just pretty good. I don't want to take it away from him because he ran very well in his debut, and I like the fact that he didn't take a step back after that debut. Now he gets Lasix for the first time. Not the case with every other runner except for the one here. I will be very surprised if he's 6-5, and frankly, I'll be a little surprised if he loses.
I have another question for you, Meg, in a moment about Victory Formation and what we just saw there with 2 Eagles River, JK. But this is your best bet of the afternoon, and 6-5 has to feel okay considering he felt like an odds-on choice going in.
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of agree with Andy. I think he'll probably come down at this point. I was thinking the 6 would take more early money, right? That kind of Oaklawn always has great crowds, and a lot of times horses can get overbet there because there's novice horse players there, and they look at the form, and they see this horse has won 3 times in a row, but don't understand how those 3 wins were earned. The last time was going shorter in a sloppy racetrack where he got a beautiful trip. 2 races back, got loose with a beautiful trip. In both of those situations, he ran significantly slower than the 4 Two Eagles River. Two Eagles River faced a much better horse in victory formation, ran well first time out. I just feel like Two Eagles River getting Lasix for the first time, I just think this horse is going to take a step forward. And a step forward, based on what this horse has already done, is extremely, extremely dangerous to a horse that I'd love to own Count de Monet, but I just don't think that horse deserves to be the favorite in here. And hoping for a little bit of late money to come on that horse because of the undefeated record. But like Andy said, I think the 4 is going to continue to come down.
Even money now, JK, Two Eagles River. Let's circle back to Count de Monet, who is undefeated in 3 starts. He is steadily improving. This was the Advent Stakes, December 9th. Count de Monet, Andy, who was dismissed at 15-1, and that proved to be a big mistake.
Well, one of the reasons he was that big a price is I think that Tyler's Try was around 1-5 in here. But he did run, and he improved dramatically. Now, if you want to take a positive view, you say, well, he ran a 60 Beyer first time out, he ran a 74 second time, and an 85 in his 3rd start. He's a 2-year-old that's getting faster with every start. And I'm not going to argue with that because that's a fact. My problem is that odd distance races, 5.5, 6.5, we don't run them a lot. So those are the kind of figures I always look at with a bit of a jaundiced eye because they're odd distance races. And if you're going to find figures that are unreliable, mile and 3/16, 5.5, 6.5. So I wonder a little bit. I don't think it's also unfair to say, what about the muddy sealed track? That could have had something to do with it. So I think the 4 is a much more reliable horse and has the same kind of numbers that the 6 ran last time. Listen, if you want to take the 6, and I think you're going to get 5-2 by post time, I'm not going to argue with you. I just think the 4, like Jonathan, is just a much more likely winner. Unfortunately, though, is going to be 3-5 by post time, if not lower.
Paul LaDuca on site. And Paulie, yesterday we watched Tom Swearingen train the winner of the feature at Oaklawn Park. Here he has Count de Monet.
Yeah, and listen, this is a filly that's 3 for 3, and I have one motto that when it comes to betting horses, I just never can throw out undefeated horses. You just don't really know how good they are. And I get where the public is going with the 4 in here for Chris Hartman. I thought horses were in a bang-up race. What I do love about both of these runners, they've run against full fields. Count de Monet, 10, 8, and 9 horse fields. So they haven't been layup fields. I get maybe the competition behind. And Two Eagles River, you know, the 4 beat an 11 horse field. Now, last time I just got, run down the wire, but Lugan Knight, who ran 3rd, is a Michael McCarthy runner. I've talked about him multiple times. He's very talented. So that was a very good race Two Eagles River comes out of. Now, Andy's dead right. It just went to 3-5 and Count de Monet to 5-2. I thought the upsetter in here was the 1, Bourbon Bash. I think this horse could be the quick of the quick. And maybe if Mikel Michel can push towards the front end and get towards the front end. Now, she's had 2 wins at this meet. They've both been gate to wire on D. Wayne Lucas's horses. I thought Bourbon Bash was interesting, maybe at a price to try to upset, but it does look like the 4 and the 6 are the 2 in here. But like I said, I'm throwing in the 1 in my late pick 5 guys that starts here with some tough sledding ahead. I'm going to single Frosted Departure a little bit later for Kenny McPeak.
But here, Bourbon Bash, your guys are both in agreement that he's a threat.
I made a small 1-4 box, but I pressed a big 4-1 in this race. You know, you look back, and he does have that 1 fast race, and I like that about him. He also gets Lasix for the first time, as the 4 does. And sometimes I find with Wayne Lucas, the worse they look, the more interesting they are sometimes,
well,
these horses.
This horse has speed, and Paul talked about it. Mikel Michel has allowed those horses to kind of roll along, and we've seen her bring in, a week ago, a real big price going 2 turns for Wayne, going wire to wire.
And Wayne likes speed. I mean, as
she gets on horses for him in the morning, he must get on well with this horse. I think this horse is interesting. I think she lets this horse roll from the rail.
You were excited about his maiden win at Saratoga. He was 8-1 in the Grade 1 hopeful.
No, he looked very good in his second start, and something seems to have gone badly wrong. He frankly didn't run that badly in his first start. Blazing Sevens, who beat him, as many will remember, he won the Champagne. I think he was third in the Breeders' Cup. So he's running against real horses. Something has gone the wrong way. Is it possible he was bleeding? Maybe the Lasix will help with that. And I think he's an interesting horse because I'm going to let the 6 beat me in here. Maybe I'll end up being wrong. It's horse racing. You're wrong a lot. But I think the 4 is very reliable to show up. I think the 6 a little questionable.
Richie, Dwayne Lucas back aboard his pony on Thursday. Again, and his pony threw him early December, breaking 5 ribs. Early December, Wayne's in his 80s, and a few weeks later, he's back out doing his thing in the morning.
It's just remarkable. I mean, genuinely remarkable. I don't know if anybody's Yellowstone fan, the series with Kevin Costner. He reminds me of that. He's just cowboys up. Just get back in the saddle and go on.
That's a pretty good comp. That's a pretty good comp. Dwayne Lucas would feel that much better if he gets a win here from Bourbon Bash, drawn inside in this $150,000 Renaissance Stakes. 2 Eagles River, the favorite. Odds on 3-5. Count de Monet to the outside at 2-1. First of 2 stakes races on this New Year's Eve program. All 2-year-olds all the time today at Oaklawn. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Terrible start for 2 Eagles River. He is last early. Frosted Departure and Count du Monet to the front. Count du Monet takes over the lead. Frosted Departure away in a second. Choctaw Zip and Bourbon Bash are next. Now 2 Eagles River is on the move. He'll move up to be a joint third. 4 from the front. The trailer is Spurrier. So Count du Monet is the leader into the far turn. In the first running of the Renaissance, he's a length in front of Frosted Departure in second. 2 Eagles River has moved up to third now, and he's 2.5 from the front. Bourbon Bash is at the rail, 4th and 4 off the lead. Choctaw Zip and Spurrier have 5 to make up. They run to the top of the stretch. Count du Monet and Frosted Departure with 2 Eagles River. Count du Monet is gone. He's just been passed at the quarter pole, and Frosted Departure and 2 Eagles River are the 2 at the top of the stretch. 2 Eagles River outside, Frosted Departure inside, and they are shoulder to shoulder for the final furlong of the Renaissance. 4 back to Bourbon Bash. Frosted Departure inside, 2 Eagles River outside, 2 Eagles River maybe half ahead. Frosted Departure counter punching inside. Frosted Departure, 2 Eagles River. This is going to be a nose either way. Frosted Departure. Frosted Departure beat a desperately unlucky 2 Eagles River. Bourbon Bash finished third.
Frosted Departure crosses the wire first. We're not going to say he won the Renaissance Stakes, but he crosses the wire first, Richie. Lots of trading of paint in the stretch with 2 Eagles River.
Yeah, but it appears to me that it's all the 2. Frosted Departure coming out into 2 Eagles River. Nick Juarez is trying to hold a straight line, and the gray horse, Frosted Departure, keeps on coming out into him. And you could see it clearly there on the pan. And if you could see it that clearly on the pan, the head-on shot should be dramatically worse.
Right. You do need to see the head-on to see it, but you and I have a very similar opinion on herding, and there may well have been contact here as well, and it wasn't quite as severe, but I was thinking about that Woodward where Ghost Zapper did manage to beat next year's horse of the year, St. Liam, who carried out about 15 paths in the stretch, and these horses were way out in the track. There will be an inquiry, and without seeing the head-on, you don't know if it'll be a DQ, but it feels like a real possibility.
And all the credit in the world to 2 Eagles River, because he could have packed it in, Richie. This is not the way they drew it up on the chalkboard.
Yeah, he missed the break here. He didn't get away cleanly, but I like what Nick Juarez does. He said, okay, this is the hand I'm dealt. I'm going to take a long hold, let him find his rhythm, get into the race. He didn't rush him. He didn't panic. And Nick Juarez has made a nice impression his first time trying Oaklawn Park, kind of getting comfortable right away, fitting right in. Not an easy thing to do going to a new circuit. This horse was unlucky if he doesn't actually get the victory, because the start did cost him. That's not a rider's fault. Those things happen. But gosh, it really looked like the 2 came out and hampered him, and it looked like contact.
We're waiting for the inquiry sign. We don't see anything yet.
Well, they're not putting up the photo yet, but they're clearly there's going to be an inquiry. I don't want to say, listen, and I know you wouldn't disagree. Frosted Departure ran well, even if he comes down.
Sure.
He certainly outran his odds. He was very game in here for Ken McPeak, and he ran a very good race. Based on the pan, there's going to be an inquiry, and we think probably a very possible DQ. Without seeing the head-on, it's very hard to say that. They're happy now. We'll see how happy they are in 10 minutes. But
you know what I always used to do, and I kind of knew that I did something? I'd act even happier, like, yes, it's done.
Well,
Like,
you were an Academy Award-winning jockey. When I wanted my jockey to put on a show, when I wanted you to put up when you finished second, it's nobody I wanted more than a Mig. You knew how to sell
Have
it.
you ever watched an NBA game where a guy says, yeah, I fouled him? Like, yeah, I fouled him. No.
No.
See?
No.
Very
LeBron,
common.
who I love, has never committed a foul.
See,
Kevin McHale never committed a foul.
The key to selling it as a jockey, though, wasn't just jumping up and steadying. You also had to let your backside hit the saddle one time and really
we
sell
need
it.
the head on here. This is.
Are we seeing it? Paulie, are we seeing things? We thought we saw a lot of contact in the stretch. No sign of an inquiry or an objection just yet.
Well, they haven't put up the official sign. The finish.
It's official.
What?
Yeah, it's official. You know, I talked to Nicky Juarez right after the race, and I was like, Nicky, did anything happen here? Did this horse come out on you at all? And he said, no, it was actually pretty fair play. Listen, my horse stumbled out of the gate very badly, got to the top of the lane, and it was just a battle. He said what happened was the horse came out on me first, and he goes, I kind of came back in on him, so it was a kind of bit of fair play. So Juarez was actually very, very honest with me. He said, no, sir. He called me sir, which you don't have to call me that again, Nick, but he said, no, sir, there was just fair play. He came out of me, I came in, we kind of brushed together, and I just couldn't go by.
Wow.
I wonder if his agent, Gary Stevens, feels the same way.
Well, I would like to see a head-on. Maybe we're reading too much into it. It certainly appeared, like in the pan, that the two-horse came out into the four.
We'll keep an eye. Maybe we can do something when they show the head-on in their replay at the track, because this is, and by the way, is not affecting any bets we made.
No.
I bet a 4-1 exacta, and so I was first and second and third. The one ran okay, actually, Bourbon Bash, but not good enough.
Frosted Departure, 21-20, exiting that Advent Stakes, where he was fourth behind Count de Monet. 9-1 at post time. CNH Diamond Racing, Magdalena Racing, that's Kenny McPeak. We mentioned McPeak won last year. Smarty Jones wins the Renaissance Stakes here. Frosted Departure. Big upset in the first of two stakes races. Lots to be excited about. 2-year-old onward and upward. The Frosted Colt, Frosted Departure in the Renaissance as our coverage continues on New Year's Eve from Oaklawn. You're watching America's Day at the Races.
Sire Sensation Gunrunner is the sire of 6 first crop Grade 1 winners.
God-eyed, and he's going to win the hopeful.
Red Zulu wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies,
And Cyberknife has won the Haskell.
Society is gonna win the Cotillion and Tata. They win the Bathurst, Pennsylvania Derby. Early voting comes inside and wins it. He wins the Preakness.
Horse of the Year, Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal racing experience.
I would just say that it's a smaller, tighter-knit group. Everybody has a common interest. We spend a lot more time together than some of the bigger operations, and I very much enjoy that.
We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Contact us to get a taste of the Adelphi Racing experience, and let's win races together.
Catalina Cruiser. He won 7 of 9 starts coast to coast with 6 triple-digit buyers and 5 dominating graded stakes wins, including a record in the Grade 2 True North Stakes. A son of leading 5th crop sire, Union Rags. A $370,000 yearling with an imposing physical and one of the best of his generation. There's only one Catalina Cruiser, now standing at Lane's End.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York Reds start with an advantage. Our New York Reds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Exciting stretch drive from a couple of 2-year-olds in the Renaissance at Oaklawn. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Winning rider Francisco Arrieta standing by with Paul live at Oaklawn. Paulie.
Yeah, I do got the winning jockey, Francisco Arrieta, here of the Renaissance aboard Frosted Departure. Great ride, Francisco, and it was a nice little stretch duel between you and Nicky.
Yeah, it's a nice horse, you know. Like I told before, last time he didn't like the track. He was wet, so he was kind of refusing to run for the dairy and stuff. But today the track was dry, so he went for it. You know, when I put in the clear, he started coming. When I see the other horse coming, I try to be close to him to, you know, make him fight, and he did it. He hold on, you know. Great job for the horse.
Yeah, I was talking to Nick Juarez, and he said that you guys kind of exchanged bumps, so it was kind of really even, and he was never really going to go by you. Your horse kind of found a new energy about halfway through the stretch?
Yeah, when he feel the other horse, when I was really close to him, I correct him, and he just keep going, you know.
I saw Chris Hartman saying, hey, did he come out on you? Now you're going to ride a Chris Hartman horse in the next race. It's crazy how this horse racing is, right?
I would put my smile and wait to see what Chris says, but, you know, it is what it is. You got to, you know, fight for the horse you are on.
Well, good luck on Cold Blood. The horse got a shot?
Yeah, he does. Chris is doing a great job, you know.
Yeah. Horse is getting bet live in the double. Francisco's going to look for back-to-back races here at Oaklawn.
Francisco Arrieta and that stretch drive there with Frosted Departure, we'd like to see a head-on. It's that fine line you talk about, Richie, between intimidation and just race riding, and then committing a foul.
Yeah, listen, I mean, he didn't commit a foul because he was left up. It wasn't even an inquiry.
Well,
they tend to be very.
But it didn't sound like Nick Juarez thought it was much either.
I want to see a head-on as well. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, though, it went official. And, you know, if you know in a certain jurisdiction you can get away with more, you're going to do more. So
jockey's job is to win.
That's it, you know, and they do let them play at Oaklawn.
Yeah, we're just showing the head-on on the track feed right now, so we'll try to look at it. It's shot from a camera that's about, I think it's actually in Memphis. I think it's because the head-on is so far from the gate you can't even tell.
You're exaggerating. It's Little Rock.
You will. We'll have it for
Where's
you
that camera?
So you're seeing exactly. This is from Oaklawn, and you're going to see the head-on. And we're going to see this for the very first time.
The horse in the middle.
Frosted Departure. And 2 Eagles River rounding the far turn. Frosted Departure finding his best stride. 2 Eagles River off that bad start. Now he's gathering momentum, and this will be our first look. Richie, what do you see?
Okay, so they come into the stretch 4 or 5 wide. They came together there. They're right now nothing that would warrant a disqualification. He comes down close to him there. They're doing a slow, steady drift. This is where, to me, it got a little bit. It wasn't as bad or dramatic as I thought it was.
Not as bad. I think I'll say the same thing that I say around here. So it's not like I'm picking on Oaklawn. I don't do it here. I think the stewards owe it to the public to look at it. They don't have to look at it for 10 minutes. Sure. They can look at it for 90 seconds. But I think they need to tell the public, we looked, and we said it shouldn't come down.
Don't we assume they are looking at it just because
I don't think we should have to assume.
Okay,
people are betting their money, supporting the game. They need to know that the stewards are looking.
It lends confidence.
They are. There's no way of knowing.
I feel different about the race in itself, seeing the head-on after what I thought I saw in the pan.
No doubt. As do I. And as we said on the air, without seeing, no matter what the pan looks like, you need to see the head-on.
We knew
you can't be
he
sure,
came out.
But you want to see the head-on. And I'm not saying there should have been a DQ. I don't think I disagree with a non-DQ. No. But I do think the stewards have an obligation to the bettors who are paying the freight in the game, along with the owners, to tell the bettors, we looked, we agree. And the owners of the horse that are in second as well.
I agree. It lends confidence to the players. But I will say this, Francisco Arrieta rode perfectly. Yeah. I mean, that's race riding. Race rode.
Listen, I hadn't watched much of his work until last year, his first full season, I believe, at Oaklawn Park. He can ride.
Oh, absolutely.
He can flat out ride.
He rode right on top of that line, a bit into the gray area without going over it. That was good, hard race riding by both riders.
Exciting edition of the Renaissance Stakes. 2-year-olds, Oaklawn. Meantime, here at Tampa, we have a good track. No turf racing today. This is the 8th race.
It's a race we've been waiting for, Richie. You've been talking about this one to me all day. Boy, I really hope we get to something happens so we can show the 8th at Tampa.
It's like your best bet of the afternoon, Andy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I've been digging in deep to this race here.
Jason Beam standing by with the call. It is post time, 8th race live, Tampa Bay Downs.
Final pair. We're just about set for a start. On this soggy Saturday, the rain has continued to come down here in Oldsmar. Danny Hill, Marcos Meneses to the outside draw, just about set to roll. Little Miss Camille goes in. Danny Hill to the outside draw. Goes in. There in the gate. And the race is on. Good start for Little Miss Camille out wide. Bunty Windermere between horses is showing speed, and Moana's Power wants a part of the early mix as well. Those three going quickly up front. They go a length and a half in front of Lady and Heels up the inside, who's now fourth. Up from the outside, Dog Goes, Summer of Mischief. They're fifth and sixth. Then comes Bid Once and seventh. In between horses, Band Sweetheart is back eighth, and Danny Hill is the trailer as they go into that far turn. Moana's Power, speed is on here, in front by a neck. Bunty Windermere up on the outside. They're 2.5 in front of Little Miss Camille, who's shoved along from third. Lady and Heels stays toward the inside in fourth as they come past the quarter pole. The opening quarter, they drilled at 22 seconds flat. As they come into the stretch, Bunty Windermere now puts a nose in front. Down on the inside, Moana's Power trying to battle back. Little Miss Camille with her sights set on them. Moana's Power is back in front, though. Final furlong to go. Moana's Power, but here's Little Miss Camille storming down the outside. Bunty Windermere back to third. Little Miss Camille, Moana's Power battles on. Little Miss Camille in front. Moana's Power back to second. And down the outside, Band Sweetheart into third. But it's going to be Little Miss Camille to win it 2.5, 3 in the end. Moana's Power, then came Band Sweetheart. Photo for fourth between Bid Once and Danny Hill.
Now, a good exaggerator was on a wet track. Preakness win on a wet track. Little Miss Camille now 2 for 2 on wet tracks.
Storm down the center of the track. Sammy Camacho, another rider, just really found his circuit, his niche. Monmouth in the summer, over 160 wins this year. And Little Miss Camille, and I know Andy loved this filly.
Oh, yeah. Picked her out in 2 seconds. I'll tell you one thing. You mentioned that about exaggerate. He was a rare horse that really did improve dramatically in a wet track. And it happened on an important day in his career. Well, there's only one Scintilla, Richie.
Little Miss Camille at Tampa. They're in the paddock at Oaklawn Park. More two-year-old fillies next as our coverage continues from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Oaklawn Park on this New Year's Eve.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Hill and Dale. Atalapa. Horses on the track, these two-year-old fillies for the 7th race, Oaklawn. They'll make the turn, kick off this post parade, have a 4-5 favorite to deal with in the form of Twirled. Have a chance to see her. $8,000 allowance optional claimer, 5.5 furlong sprint. There's Proud Mule drawn inside, 6-1.
Yeah, Proud Mule's coming in off a little bit of a freshening after running at Delaware.
Number 2, Yolanda Who, just won at Remington.
Yeah, had some speed. Remington Park form has done well there. Moves up in company, though.
Nice long look at Proud Mule. Yolanda Who, there she is. Couple of wins in 4 starts. She's been productive. Key to success, number 3 at 20-1.
Yeah, key to success comes off the claim for a trainer that's had minimal success off the claim in the dirt overall.
Tyler Bays in the saddle. Long shot side by side here. Saltwater Gypsy, 29-1.
A big price, but probably will be involved at least early. This horse had speed going 4.5 at Charlestown against lesser company, but you got to be quick to show speed at Charlestown going 4.5.
Pioneer Parade, 7-1.
Yeah, this is another horse, a little bit of a freshening. Broke the maiden first time out. Speed last time, not impossible.
There she is, our former Bluegrass winner in Carpe Diem. Pioneer Parade, number 6 at 13-1. Beautiful and bold. First a win and 2 second-place finishes in 4 starts.
It turns back in distance after showing speed and tiring slightly late.
A little interesting as a cutback.
Gold-blooded getting bet. 15-1 on the morning line. Now 5-1. Arietta looking to go back-to-back.
Who made a horse that's switching trainers to Chris Hartman 15-1 morning line? Come on.
Handicappers are onto it. Number 9. First-time starter, Step on the Foot Feet.
Richie, you were talking with Capote Bell, and I was talking about Light the Fuse, breaking their maidens first time out or running against open winners. This is a horse, a first-time starter against winners.
Yeah, going right against the winners. That's interesting.
Odd.
Big scratch. Big scratch. Uglo Girl is out. Twirled is in. Odds on 4-5.
Just this horse is just obviously the horse to beat. Stake faced, finished second. No surprise. This one's the favorite. I think the interesting horse is the 8 on the trainer switch, and I think the 6 on the cutback. A little bit interesting as well.
We just learned we'll be saying goodbye to our audience on Fox Sports 2. You can continue to follow the racing from Oaklawn and Tampa Bay Downs on the NYRA YouTube page or the NYRA Bets app. Again, saying goodbye to our viewers on Fox Sports 2. For everyone else, we're staying right here. We have the 7th race coming up from Oaklawn Park in 4 minutes. Still another stakes race at Oaklawn Park. The 2-year-olds today. Tomorrow, the Smarty Jones featuring 3-year-olds here on America's Day at the races. Stay tuned. Our viewers still with us. The warm-up continues for the 7th race at Oaklawn Park. About 4 minutes out. And Twirled, as we were just discussing, the odds-on favorite, 4-5. And this is part of the reason why. Richie, 2 starts back. Daylight maiden score at Keeneland late October.
Yeah, big win at Keeneland. Joel Rosario aboard this day. And look how confident Joel is. Turns for home, puts her out there in the 5 or 6 path, which is his want to do. And just kind of shakes the reins at her and gets a big response from her, and she came back and ran well in the Fern Creek at Churchill Downs, just second best that day. She looks very formidable.
Yeah, I mean, she's the obvious heavy favorite here, especially once you mention, you know, you've got some scratches. Maybe the horse inside of her would have taken a little bit of money, though she's got the big figure edge and one to beat. I mean, the horse that's interesting is the 8 Gold-Blooded. I mean, you've got a horse that's getting a switch to Chris Hartman. Now, this horse, interestingly enough, this is not a private purchase. This horse was sold in the November sale at Keeneland. If you look up, you'll see in the Daily Racing Forum, November 22nd, November of 2022, sold. So obviously this whole horse sold after that last race. So it's not like, you know, sometimes you see a trainer switch. They're not as good as claims because the claim is one a trainer's picking out. But this one, somewhere along the way, now we don't know if Chris Hartman had anything to do with it, but somebody paid $90,000. A lot to pay for this horse. I know he broke his maiden $150,000, but he got a 57 buyer, so somebody liked him. I thought he was a little interesting, and I always love a cutback, so I was going to use the 6 Bold and Beautiful, mostly, though, behind the favorite.
Gold-Blooded, 6-1, second choice, co-second choice. Paulie, but yeah, they better have their running shoes on if they're going to defeat the likes of a Twirled here, 3-5 as the warm-up continues.
Yeah, they probably are. You know, when this horse lost to Kentucky Downs, you know, the horse came back with a 58 buyer, and it was one of those races where it just kind of came back a little bit slow because American Apple came back to win the matron out of that race, and then Twirl came back on the dirt and won by 8 over Poblano. Now, when she went into the Fern Creek, now Red Carpet Ready and Key of Life, Brad Cox runner, both well-regarded fillies, and going 6.5 furlongs, she's going to be the one to beat in here at 3-5. Gold-blooded the 8, Andy had mentioned. She's second in the Will Pays here when it comes to, the multi-race Will Pays pick 3s and doubles. So she's taking a ton of money. Talking to Francisco Arietta after the race that she's been training well in the morning. And, 6-1, you're getting your fair price. I thought the live horse in here, or the other horse in here, is the 5, Pioneer Parade. Another Jimmy DeVito horse. This horse won first time out in one of those restricted races where a horse can run if he has not sold it, a sailed, or RNA'd. For 50,000 or less, and he won first time out. He gets Lasix, but he's just got bullet drill after bullet drill over this racetrack with Christian Torres aboard. So maybe the 5 can cut out some fractions of filly by Carpe Diem and give you a little bit of a thrill for a little while, but I just don't see how Twirled getting Lasix for the first time. I mean, I don't love 3-5, but I do think if she's going to lose, it would be to Gold-Blooded, and she's going to have to improve a ton in the Chris Hartman barn.
As we look at Pioneer Parade, Paul, thanks so much. No such thing as a sure thing. Richie, if there are any potential pitfalls, any potential obstacles for Twirled, what could lead to her undoing today?
There's only one thing that kind of stands out to me looking at this that you gotta talk about and you gotta think about is Twirled, trained by Steve Asmussen, Hall of Famer, incredible horseman, is 1 for 29 at the Oaklawn Park stand right now.
No, I think that's a reasonable thing to point out, especially the 3-5 shot.
Yeah, it's a very uncharacteristic for this barn. And sometimes things go through a barn and they're just not hitting well. Maybe there's, some sort of a little virus or something that goes undetected that goes through a barn and the horses just aren't performing up to snuff. Now, Steve's a Hall of Famer. He's a great horseman. But that's a concerning stat right now.
Well, with a 3-5 shot, it certainly is. I mean, I think it's like anything. Everything price has to do with it. And I think it's a very, very good thing to point out when this horse is a short price. And we've seen Steve go through some cold streaks before. We've seen him have bad runs at Keeneland before. It doesn't mean he forgot how to train. It doesn't mean he's not going to win a lot of big races going forward. But you're talking about a 3-5 shot, as Richie's pointing out, is not exactly setting the world on fire.
Best trainers in the world, Richie. Best jockeys in the world. They all go through it.
Oh, absolutely. Your father picked up the mount on Affirmed when Steve Cawthon was going through an 0 for 100 plus
0 for 110.
And he was as big a phenom in racing as in my lifetime, and this is, almost 50 years.
He broke out of the streak on a horse named Father Duffy, who I was the groom at Hemp Hill Farm the previous summer when he came in for Las Barrera, because Las Barrera actually put him on the horse that broke him out of the slump, even though he had taken him off of Affirmed at that point. And let's be fair, Affirmed responded to your father. Your father didn't ask, he demanded.
Tell me about it.
Your dad wrote him, I think, one day. He wrote him one day in Saratoga, I think, your father.
He did.
Yeah, I have a vague memory of that.
Well for everyone.
I think you were there too, Richie.
Yeah, he wrote it. Well, Cawthon, I don't remember if he was suspended or injured. My father wrote it for him.
He was injured.
In the San Diego Derby.
He was injured after the Jim Dandy when he got up and beat that very fast horse of Alan Jerkin, Sensitive Prince.
Very good
He went
horse.
down in the spill, hurt his knee, and your dad came in to ride him in the Travers. And supposedly there was a coin toss between Angel, Cordero. Yeah, all right, relax you.
Yeah.
Angel is the one who really created the whole thing, running shake, shake, shake.
That's right.
Angel got up and got a little bit hot up front. That was Angel, and that was sort of precipitated the entire incident.
I was right at the 3/8 pole when it happened. I was right on that stand watching it, and when Aladar checked, I actually thought he got injured, but
we all did.
He checked, and he caught his stride instantly. And Samin rode a great race on Nasty and Bold because he shot through, even though he didn't have enough horse, right at the spot after Aladar checked.
My father says he's never felt worse after a race.
Never
in his career felt worse.
There's also so many horses that aren't really remembered the way they should be because of Affirmed and Alidar, like Believe It, and one of them is
really
Nasty and Bold, who was a tremendous talent for P.G. Johnson, but because of running those two monsters, he never really got his due.
Tangent New Year's Eve coverage continues on America's Day at the Races, and we have a 2-year-old filly to watch here in the form of Twirled, odds-on favorite. Post time for the 7th. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Pioneer Parade broke well, so did Twirled in the center. These two quickest. Yolanda Hu away in third. Then Proud Mule at the rail. Gold-blooded outside of Saltwater Gypsy and Beautiful and Bold. Then comes Key to Success, and the trailer is Step on the Foot Feet. It is Proud Mule to move through at the rail, and Proud Mule takes it a length from Twirled in second. Here's Twirled now within a half length of the lead. Pioneer Parade is joined by Saltwater Gypsy. They're both 2 from the front, 3 back to Yolanda Hu. Gold Blooded has 5 lengths to make up. Key to Success moves through at the rail, and now the trailer is Beautiful and Bold, and we have a new leader. It is Twirled. Twirled at the top of the stretch with a length lead. Saltwater Gypsy threatens to run a good one and races up on the outside of Twirled. 2.5 back to Yolanda Hu. Twirled has the lead. Saltwater Gypsy is second, but got to switch leads to try to get by. Then Key to Success. Here's Key to Success moving up, but Twirled has the lead. Pioneer Parade is also in with a chance. Twirled, Key to Success, Pioneer Parade, Twirled in front. Twirled won by 2 1/4. Key to Success was second. It's close for third between Pioneer Parade and Yolanda Hu.
That's going to feel good around the Steve Asmussen camp. A victory here is Twirled. The odds-on favorite does not disappoint. Second lifetime victory, just outclassing this group at Oaklawn Park, closing at 3-5.
Yeah, she was always on top of the pace, was set down, turning for home, and Isaac Castillo riding more for Steve. It picks up a nice mount here. She gets it done.
Too good for these.
It's just too good for these, absolutely. But I tell you, we really should talk about the runner-up here. Key to Success making the first start off the claim for Mike Puig. Tyler Bays is riding at Oaklawn. He's been hitting the board on a lot of horses at big prices. He hasn't won a race yet at Oaklawn at the stand, but horses are running well for him, and he's hitting the board on horses that are outrunning their odds.
No argument for me.
Had some big years out in Southern California. Tyler Bays here, Twirled, Isaac Castillo, Steve Asmussen, and a filly with a future. The 4 starts, 2 wins, and 2 second-place finishes. Just went out there and handled it, did what she was supposed to do today.
Yeah, absolutely, and gets it done. And sometimes, just like with a rider, it takes 1 or 2 horses to kind of get the ball rolling again.
I think Steve will be okay.
I think so, too.
He's a pretty good trainer.
Gonna be just fine. Twirled here at Oaklawn. We will be rejoined by our Fox Sports 2 audience in just a moment. In fact, they'll be back with us in just about 25 seconds. Another look at Twirled, gliding under the wire. Crop uncocked. Isaac Castillo, Steve Asmussen, a victory. Twirled at Oaklawn. More 2-year-old racing. 1 stakes race left as the New Year's Eve coverage continues. We'll pause briefly and welcome back our audience on Fox Sports 2. Welcome back to our viewers on Fox Sports 2. Only missed 1 race. Twirled, the filly, the favorite, takes down the 7th race at Oaklawn Park alongside Andy Serling, Richie Migliori. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. The final day of the year, final day of thoroughbred racing. Aqueduct canceled early. More on that a little bit later on the show. For our viewers on Fox Sports 2, here's what you just missed. Twirled. And Richie, you were discussing for trainer Steve Asmussen. It's been a cold start to the meet at Oaklawn Park. Here, a nice win for Asmussen and a good filly on the ascent.
Yeah, this filly has a future. She's been impressive. She did what needed to be done today. I see on the track feed we've got an inquiry up, but I'm not sure exactly what it's focusing on. Maybe something happened down the backstretch, Andy?
No idea, but I hope I'm gone by the time it's adjudicated. That's my New Year's wish, actually.
The show's till 6, Andy. You have an hour and a half.
Yeah. You have an hour and a half. Tomorrow you get me until 6. Something for you to look forward to.
All right, let's keep an eye on what's going on here. Twirl's on the outside, and it looks like the inquiry was focusing on her, and I'm just trying to ascertain what happened here, Andy.
I have no idea what they're looking at.
It looks to me that the horse on a lead's trying to get out.
Yeah, she is.
And the horse in between them has to steady slightly, but that was because the inside horse came out. It had nothing. The winner did nothing.
So they apparently look at races when nothing happened, and they don't look where something did happen.
I think they had the show on. They heard what you said.
See?
And now they're doing what you want. You're going to complain about that?
Some more.
Okay, I still have no idea what went on here. I don't know.
No, the inside horse came out and it squeezed the horse in the middle between the 2 of them.
But didn't the horse on the inside finish nowhere?
No, but I guess they're looking at it to make sure the winner didn't come over on the horse, which she did.
Okay. Okay.
That's my take on it.
No. I'm not going to argue because I can't make sense of it. So maybe you're right. Unless something happened behind them that I'm not looking at. It's down. I still want to go.
No harm, no foul. All good at Oaklawn. Twirled in race number 7. So in case you're just joining us, the Game of Silks reveal continues, kind of like a draft. And for Richie and for Andy, Andy had a very exciting moment when they opened the envelope, and he had a $1.3 million Into Mischief colt in his stable. Richie, you had a, remind me again?
Caracante that was scratched out of the sale. And my 3 horses have sold for exactly $43,500 so far.
This is gonna be the superstar.
Can I get a drum roll? All right, I got one that RNA'd for $32,000 by Jimmy Creed. Mare has produced 3 foals of racing age. All 3 are winners. I like that.
Second dam.
I'm sorry. No, the first dam.
Look at the third dam. Third dam was
gorgeous.
I love gorgeous.
Wow.
Just running against Bayakoa.
So,
runner-up in the 89 Distaff.
And this is an Indiana bred. I got an Indiana bred. Jimmy Creed. I like
Indiana
Jimmy Creed.
bred.
Eddie Della Hussein.
Little diversity.
He did.
Neil Drysdale trained. Eddie D. rode.
Very good horse.
Yeah, and that was for 3 chimneys, Robert Clay.
I think I saw her beat Bayakoa out in California. It was out there in the early part of the year in 1990.
She was really good. A bold late run at Bayakoa in that 89 Breeders' Cup Distaff.
She was very good. Who rode Bayakoa that day? That was your dad.
That wasn't Steve Cawthon.
Yeah.
Wasn't Steve Cawthon.
She was. What a horse she was.
The work Ron McAnally did with her. She was a nervous mess when she got here from Argentina, turned her into a champion, a front-running wrecking ball, and 2-time Breeders' Cup Distaff victress. Silks.io, more information. Game of Silks, where the metaverse meets horse racing ownership. And Richie, still looking for that $1.3 million Into Mischief.
I got a nice wardrobe, though. I got more clothes for Christmas.
Let's get out to Paul, standing by live with Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen following that impressive score by Trilled at Oaklawn. Paulie.
Yeah, I am with Steve, who gets the job done with Twirl. This is a filly that's always been very precocious. And you debuted this horse at Kentucky Downs, and she got a very tough beat. Then she came back at Churchill, and she proved herself, but she can run on both surfaces.
Yeah, she's a lovely filly. Scott Dilworth picked her out at Ocala, and we're very fortunate to have her. But as you mentioned, she's very versatile, got a tremendous amount of talent, and a great mind about her.
And you told me something that I thought was surprising. You're like, you know what? There might be more money on the turf for her later on.
Well, I definitely think so. You know, the way she handled it the first time. Filly that beat her that day came back and won the matron at Belmont off of that race. And, you know, there'll be some nice opportunities. I think we've chased the money with her a little bit, you know, with her conditions, starting her out at Kentucky Downs, winning in Kentucky, and then winning her other than here. But she's going to have a nice bankroll on her when she steps off in Stakes Company, most likely next start.
Well, it's nice to have a family atmosphere. Congratulations. By the way, your wife is making some great sweaters. Your son Keith has got to have one of the best ugly sweaters I've ever seen.
Yeah, doing well. We're doing well without that. Christmas was good to us.
They need to be on the market. I'm telling you, Lafitte.
Yeah, that slow start, that slump at Oaklawn, clearly really weighing on Steve Asmussen.
The most accomplished trainer in North American history by number of wins. He's done everything but win the Kentucky Derby.
He's had bad streaks before.
Of course.
And he'll have them again.
There's the family. There they are. So many great moments at Oaklawn Park. Steve Asmussen, North America's all-time leading trainer. And with the win here with Thrilled at Oaklawn Park. And what's this, Andy? I hear you leaving?
I am. I was always leaving.
The show is another hour and a half.
Yeah, and I was always leaving.
Why?
Because I'm special and you're not. But don't be too upset. You'll have me for 3.5 hours tomorrow.
That I can't.
So
wait
be careful what you wish for.
Ringing in the new year, 3.5 hours.
What a way to start your year.
Yeah, you better not go to Times Square tonight. That's too much time with this guy.
I'll see you at the corner of 45th and 7th, right there. I'll see you in about a few hours. I'll be there.
No fog in the forecast for tomorrow, correct?
We didn't have any fog today.
Andy Serling, everyone, we'll try to finish the show without him somehow. What we will do is revisit some of the greatest moments in New York racing in 2022. Ness provided a couple of them. Epicenter in the Travers. What a story. That's next as we look back, reflect some of the best moments in racing in New York on America's Day at the Races.
The Run Happies are hot, hot, hot with his 2-year-olds burning up the track. Recent top runners include this growing list of winners at Churchill Downs. Plus the speedy 2-year-old colt, Happy is a Choice, a 5-length maiden winner at Keeneland.
Happy is a Choice, Francisco Arrieta to win it.
Price for value and turning up the heat. Call today and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
America's fastest city. I'm watching some fast thoroughbreds on this New Year's Eve. That's going to be a scene tonight. You're watching America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Any track, anywhere, anytime. With Naira Bets, get started at nairabets.com today. Richie, I thought he'd never leave, man. Thought he'd never leave.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it was just the right moment to depart.
I thought it was when they canceled Aqueduct.
He was a little upset. But he handled it. He handled it well.
He handled it well. Tomorrow, you don't have to wait very long for the feature event, the stakes race here at Aqueduct, the Ladies Stakes. Oh, by the way, that Queens County that was canceled today will be run next Saturday. Tomorrow, we will have the Pick 6 carryover, the mandatory payout, and the Ladies Stakes won't be part of it. It's early race number 3. A compact field of 5, mile and an eighth, $150,000 purse. Let's start with Battle Bling, 8-5. 2 starts back. They turned back the alarm and built that big cushion, the big lead, and then had to sweat it out late with that long stretch.
I think she's just a better 2-turn filly, which she gets back to in the ladies. Last time she got run off her feet in the Go for One after missing the break, not having a good start. She's been better since they figured out Lafitte that she needs to be involved. She's a grinder. She's one pace. She doesn't change gears. So she's not going to quicken for you and make up ground. But her strength is her stamina, and she'll get an opportunity to use that stamina going a mile and a furlong.
Battle Bling 8-5, but Falconet at the bottom, the actual favorite, 7-5 in the morning line. This was 2 starts back in the Seneca. Richie at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, and she was good here. She showed good speed for Todd Pletcher. The interesting thing is she's a newly minted 4-year-old. At midnight tonight, all thoroughbred racehorses officially turn 1, even though she was actually born in March. So she's still a little bit shy of her 4-year-old birthday, but she's in good form. She's had good figures, and she has speed. And I think it would be prudent for Jose Lezcano to kind of try to take it to Battle Bling. Don't let her dictate the terms.
Compact field of 5, more of a jockey's race. That's tomorrow's feature early on in the program. The ladies, $150,000 purse. We'll have it for you here on America's Day at the Races. And the remainder of the New Year's Eve program from Tampa Bay Downs and off the turf, hence all the defections, the scratches, and changes on the main track. The rain has continued to fall. There's a contender in Dakota Dancer drawn inside.
Ran well in an off-the-turf for last time at Gulfstream, but those off-the-turf races go to a synthetic surface. So, in fact, she's only had 1 try on wet dirt, and it was not a very good effort.
Little different here. Katie's a lady and Jose Batista.
Another one that has gone on to synthetic off these races. These horses are taking the most money, and their races on actual dirt leave a lot to be desired.
Number 4, Chick's Shadow, 7-5 is the favorite.
And this horse has a legitimate race at Parks last time out that would lay over this field.
She's smaller than a pony.
Yeah, she's not a very the diminutive Chick Shadow.
She's 7-5 towards, see, the 8 Lantern Rose, the 5-year-old Temple City mare, 3 for 5.
She's the opposite of the one we just saw. Good size and scope to her.
Asters de Oro at 9-2.
This horse is a player. This horse has got some races that make her competitive here on the dirt.
And scratch numbers 10 through 13. That is the field off the turf on the main track for this 9th race at Tampa Bay Downs. And despite her diminutive stature, Richie at 6-5 now. Chick Shadow. If somebody asks you, like, who is the best really small compact horse you ever rode, like megahertz, was a dynamo on the grass in the, early 2000s for Bobby Frankel, multiple graded stakes winner, had that incredible acceleration. You could fit her in your pocket. Is one that comes to mind for you, a really good, small thoroughbred?
Yeah, one that immediately comes to mind is a filly named Parlay for John Kimmel. The Ackley brothers owned her. She won the Distaff handicap here. She won, a couple of different stakes. She looked more like a deer. I mean, she really was small. And I thought there was some question about them, like me riding her because being a tall rider. Yeah. And actually, I fit her pretty well. I could fold up like a lizard on a log,
Was it more? Is it that much more? Is it more of a challenge?
It is. And you've got to really get your stirrups in just the right spot so you can create that kind of V where you fold your body up in layers to get behind a smaller horse. But she was tough. She was a hickory little filly that really, like I say, I like my people and my horses the same, honest and hardworking.
Honest, hardworking. You just saw Chick Shadow step into the starting gate. She is the favorite, and we're all set for the 9th from Tampa Bay Downs. Jason Beef standing by.
And Rose goes in. Asters de Oro and Skylar Spanabel to the outside. Just about set for a start. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Asters de Oro sent for speed from the outside. Katie's a Lady is a little bit quicker, though, puts a nose in front. Down on the inside, Dakota Dancer also wants a part of the early pace. They are going pretty quickly up front. Here's Dakota Dancer, going to cut the corner just in front of Katie's a Lady is up on the outside in second. 3 deep here for Asters de Oro in third. Chick Shadow came away fourth in behind horses, and Linton Rose right to her outside as they wheel toward the back stretch. On the front end, Dakota Dancer. Ronnie Allen Jr. wanted the lead and has it 3/4 of a length in front of Katie's a Lady in the second spot. 24 seconds for the opening quarter mile. 5.5 furlongs to go, and it's Dakota Dancer a length and a tail in front. In the second position, Katie's a Lady. Asters de Oro now works toward the inside of Katie's a Lady. Skylar Spanabel making a bit of a backstretch move, now puts a nose into second. Chick Shadow is back fourth, and at the tail is Linton Rose. Half mile left to go in the nightcap. Dakota Dancer in front of length and a half. Asters de Oro continues to progress down toward the inside, 47-4 for that opening half. Right outside of that one comes Katie's a Lady, who's pushed along to keep up from third. Chick Shadow is fourth. The favorite right now about 4.5 behind as they wind around past the 3/8 pole. Dakota Dancer, but here's Asters de Oro. Asters de Oro right up alongside, and Asters de Oro goes to the front. Dakota Dancer quickly now a length back in second. Chick Shadow starting to swing into action is third. 3 lengths off the new leader, who's Asters de Oro. Asters de Oro to the top of the stretch, clear by 2. Dakota Dancer joined on the outside by Chick Shadow as they're into the stretch. It's Asters de Oro in front by 2.5. On the outside, Chick Shadow looks to be the main danger. Dakota Dancer back third, then comes Katie's a Lady. A final furlong left to go. Asters de Oro, Chick Shadow bearing down on that one, has 100 yards to push on by. Asters de Oro, here's Chick Shadow on the outside. These two for the final 50 yards. Chick Shadow on the outside getting up in time. Chick Shadow to win it. Asters de Oro was second. Third went to Dakota Dancer, and fourth, Katie's a Lady.
Not much to her, but she showed a lot of heart and some grit. Chick Shadow plugging away, finally getting up in time.
I will tell you this. Jose Alonso earned his money. He rode this mare, for 3/4 of a mile. And she finally got up. I mean, this was when a rider really earned his money. She does not win without his insistent urging.
Like a bicycle horse, but a tricycle horse.
Oof.
Pedaling, pedaling, pedaling. She gets up in time. Chick Shadow at Tampa Bay Downs. Meantime, riders up at Oaklawn. That's Into Love. More 2-year-olds. 6 furlong sprint maidens. That's next at Oaklawn Park.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. As always, our coverage brought to you in part by Run Happy, Clips champion sprinter, record-breaking speed, and now the sire of winners on all surfaces, dirt, grass, and all weather. Just the main track at Oaklawn, and some good 2-year-olds we've been watching all afternoon. Still one stakes race remains. That'll be the 9th and the year's end stakes. First things first, this maiden sprint for 2-year-old fillies, and there's a first-time starter, Rubia, the chestnut. First-time starter by Tapiture.
Yeah, aptly named Rubia. Out of a mare that's 13 years old, only had one foal to race and wasn't particularly compelling performance from her. But this filly did cost $155,000 at the OBS, so she must be a nice physical and work well.
Joe Talamo aboard the favorite, Malibu Toast.
Has run 3 good races and a deserving favorite.
Pacific View, Gary and Mary West homebred debuting filly.
Yeah, nice-looking filly, not taking much money on the board. Nick Juarez aboard for John Ortiz, who grew up in the shadow of Belmont Park.
Perfect Princess, third in her debut.
Yeah, well beaten, at Canterbury, would have to really improve.
Collected Glory, who's 42-1 for trainer Donnie Von Hemel.
Has run some okay races, sandwiched between 2 less compelling kind of races, big price.
I like this filly's name for the lead longs. Golden Sugar by 2-time Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner Golden Sense.
Nice work tab on this filly, trained by Norm Cassie. Another one went for $400,000 off a really good sales breeze.
Into Love, Into Mischief filly contender.
Was well beaten first time out, but Larry Jones, the trainer's horses do improve with racing.
Barstool Babe, first-time starter by Bolt Doro. Look out.
First foal for this first foal for this mare, homebred. For the owner, William Sparks.
Cecil is out. Dear Lady is in. David Cabrera rides.
Ran okay first time. Actually had some trouble going into the far turn and then in the stretch as well. I thought this horse could really take a big step forward.
Peace Cruiser should get a nice catbird stalking trip from the outside.
Yeah, trained by Riley Mott, who has 1 win under his belt so far training. A small sampling, 6 runners. Riley, longtime assistant to his dad, Hall of Famer Bill Mott. This horse is well drawn outside, turning back in distance.
Has the pedigree to be a pretty good trainer in his own right, Riley Mott, Peace Cruiser. But the favorite is Malibu Toast. And her most recent, where she showed more speed, she makes the lead. There she is battling up front. Stubborn, eventually does get worn down.
Yeah, but she ran game throughout. I mean, she didn't just let go. I mean, she's in the fight every step of the way. And after setting a fast early fraction, 21-4, she gets Lasix for the first time. They are allowed to compete on Lasix 2-year-olds in Arkansas. And sometimes they just find that little extra with the benefit of the Lasix.
And with that, with the experience, that was her third career start. She's been right there, a couple of second-place finishes as well, from 2-1. Post down towards the inside with Joe Talamo, where, I mean, she did make the lead in her last start. I don't know how fast she is. Where do you think Talamo has her situated early?
I think being inside kind of dictates that you've got to go forward. I'd be surprised if she wasn't on the lead. You got to protect your inside position, particularly when you're on a favorite. You don't want to put yourself in a position to have excuses, have horses fold over, throw kick back at you, stop you. You got to ride her like she's the best horse.
Malibu Toast at 5-2. Warm-up continues here. These 2-year-old fillies, 3/4 of a mile sprint, $90,000 purse. JK is back with us. Malibu Toast, what do you think? Is this graduation day for her in her 4th career start?
You know, look, Brad Cox has had so much success over the years with young horses. You always think that his are going to continue to progress. And this horse has a speed figure that if that horse improves off of that, can absolutely win. But, you know, at a short price down towards the inside, I think there is some more creative options that you can go with in here. I thought the 6 Golden Sugar made a little bit of sense in here. Norm Cassie taking some money into the teeth of that horse. And Norm doesn't have outstanding stats with first-time starters. They're not poor by any means, 11% throughout his career. So it's not like he's an automatic use when he has a first-time starter. So you'd like to think the horse is training well. The horse has been training consistently since, since October. Has been pretty consistent. Shows up here, gets Ricardo Santana. I love Ricardo on young horses, first-time starters. He's learned so much with his time with Steve Asmussen riding all kinds of different types. I think that Ricardo is learned to become a really good gate rider. He gets him away from there clean. He's not scared to be aggressive. He rides with a lot of confidence. And I like where he's drawn outside of his main competition. And you can't ignore the 10 Deer Lady. Seems to be taking money. But the problem I have is, look, in that last race, there was some trouble. And this horse will likely improve, but broke a little bit slow. And one of the things I will say is that sometimes breaking slow can be a little bit of an advantage for a young horse, right? They break a little bit slow. The horses kind of run away from them, and they can just kind of close comfortably. But if it becomes a habit of breaking slow, it's not necessarily where you want to be dirt racing. So at a short price, I would look elsewhere from the 10 Deer Lady. I understand there was a trip. I understand the horse broke a little bit slow, but the horse is going to have to break quicker. It's going to have to show more early speed in order to make that bad trip not be a bad trip again. I'm going to go with the 6 in here, but I've got nothing against the 2. I just think the 6 is a little bit better value.
Yeah. I like the 6 as well, Lafitte. Just getting back quickly to the 10 Deer Lady who did have that trouble and she didn't break particularly sharp. She had post 1 that day. And more than the post position, waiting for the other 11 rivals to load. Young horses have a tendency, like children, they lose their focus a little bit. So I'm forgiving of that. I think the outside post aids her considerably.
Out to Paul at Oaklawn.
Yeah, it's a good little 2-year-old filly race here. And it's very, the betting board is actually a little bit all over the place. You look at the outside runner, Peace Cruiser. I know 9-2, but the 10 in here, Deer Lady's taking a ton of money for David Cabrera. Kenny McPeak looking for his 3rd winner on the card. He'll probably have the favorite in the next race, so he'll be looking for 4 if he was able to get that done as well. I do think the first-time starter, Golden Juga for Norm Cassie, he won race number 1 today, is a live runner. Malibu Toast, the 2 in here. I can't. I mean, I've seen that movie before, and I just don't want to see it again, especially when you're going to take this horse right now at 5-2. I think there's just way better options here. I also thought the 1 looked well on the racetrack. So as of right now, I would probably go 6, and I would lean towards that horse maybe to win, and maybe some of the outside horses as well. I thought the 10 looked well. So I'm 6-10 here, and I'm against the 2-horse guys.
A stand against the favorite in Malibu Toast at 5-2. You heard J.K. as well. Holly with some positive notes on the first-time starter, Golden Sugar, $400,000 debuting filly for the Lieb Longs, trained by Norm Cassie. Filing in, 9th race, second of 2 stakes races, the Year's End Stakes. First things first, this maiden special weight sprint, 2-year-old fillies from Oaklawn. Here's the 8th in Vic Stauffer.
Collected Glory and Peace Cruiser. They're at the post. They're off. Into Love broke very well from Malibu Toast in second. Into Love trying to cross, and she does. Into Love to the front from Malibu Toast, and then to the outside and Peace Cruiser. Next in and amongst horses are Dear Lady and Golden Sugar. Rubio's at the rail. 2 lengths further back to Collected Glory and Barstool Babe, followed by Perfect Princess, and far behind is Pacific View. Into Love into the far turn with a 2-length lead on Malibu Toast, Rubia, and Dear Lady. Then it's 5 lengths back to Peace Cruiser. Golden Sugar has dropped back. She's passed by Barstool Babe. Top of the stretch, Into Love is traveling well. It is still Into Love, a 2-length lead on Malibu Toast. Here's Dear Lady trying to give McPeak his third on the day, and Dear Lady's up into second, and after Into Love. Into Love, final furlong, a length in front of Dear Lady, who is catching with each and every stride, and here's Dear Lady outside of Into Love. Dear Lady, Into Love's now back to second, and Dear Lady has taken over the front. Into Love can only watch her race away. 3 wins, Kenny McPeak. Dear Lady in front. Dear Lady won by 3. Into Love was second. Very close for third between Peace Cruiser and Barstool Babe.
Kenny McPeak closing out the year with a big afternoon at Oaklawn Park. Dear Lady in the 8th, and he's not done yet, represented by Defining Purpose, a 7-5 morning line favorite in the Year's End Stakes. Wow.
Yeah, third win of the day for him. Barnes hot. This filly was sharper leaving there, put herself in a better position, and really finished well. This is a big effort from her. The vast improvement from the 7, Into Love, showed much better speed. Malibu Toast was on the hard chase. No excuses for her. She just was not very good. I'll give another look to the 6, Golden Sugar, who was well beaten, but she reacted so negatively to the kickback when they went into the far turn that it almost like just took her off guard, and she kind of put her toes in the ground. I'll give her a second chance.
Give Paul credit. He wanted no piece of Malibu Toast. And he was right. She was a complete non-factor here. Dear Lady takes full advantage. Graduates in her second career start for Kenny McPeak. 3 wins so far. We're not done. Up next, the Year's End Stakes. And tomorrow, the Smarty Jones. First step towards the Arkansas Derby. Steve Asmussen, well represented. Communication memo comes in off a big maiden win at Oaklawn Park. And how did he do that, trying to pull off an upset? That's the Smarty Jones tomorrow. You'll see it right here on America's Day at the Races.
It's 1,000 words fighting back, coming down to the finish. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is one stunning picture.
1,000 words just in front. 1,000 words wins the Robert B. Lewis.
Honoree P is full out now, second on the outside. And they're coming down to the line, and 1,000 words has done it.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer. Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom. I love what I do.
We are New York Racing. New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
Happy New Year's Eve from all of us at America's Day at the Races. Coverage is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Dear lady, who made it look all too easy out there, Richie. In her second career start, trainer Kenny McPeak, 3 wins and counting Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, certainly hitting on all cylinders. I thought this filly's first race was actually pretty good. She learned a lot. She had to encounter adversity. Today with a clean trip from the outside, she was always in position. And honestly, the way she finished, she looks like a filly that's going to appreciate more ground. I mean, she really kind of was finding her best stride from the 8th pole down to the wire. Got to wandering a little bit when she got alone. Horses being herd animals, but she finished with her legs underneath her coming to the wire.
David Cabrera discussed this earlier about Francisco Arrieta. I hadn't watched that much until Oaklawn last year. I believe his first, maybe second full season at Oaklawn. He'd been a leading rider, I believe, at Remington. Super, super impressed. Lots of talent. And then had that injury at the end of the season that may very well have, and I can't remember what wound up happening in the jockey title. He by one,
he did hang on
up,
and win,
which is that how disappointing that would have been.
It seemed fitting that he hung on and win because he had the jockey race sewn up,
Right.
and then that injury would have cost him it. But I tell you what, a very strong jockey colony at Oaklawn. A lot of good riders there that really have impressed me. They're hard-working, consistent. You see them show up, and they race ride clean. If it sounds kind of like a contradiction, but there's an art to race riding. It's not just making sudden moves or running into horses. It's what Francisco Arrieta did earlier, coming out, making the horse engage, and riding on top of that line without actually going over it.
David Cabrera, Kenny McPeak trying to go back-to-back, defining purpose. The 7-5 morning line favorite coming up next, the year's end stakes from Oaklawn Park. And now these 2-year-olds, as Richie mentioned, they'll turn 3 overnight. And you have the America's Best Racing's race of the week in the Smarty Jones, the first local step towards the Arkansas Derby. There's the field of these newly turned 3-year-olds, 1 mile and a $250,000 purse, 10 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. And we start with Victory Formation, who is the 6-5 favorite towards the outside. 4, Brad Cox is undefeated and coming off the maiden win at Keeneland. And this one, Richie, he looked like he was absolutely done.
And he was complimented by the effort from Two Eagles River, who was the runner-up this day, who had a rough start today, didn't break particularly clean, a stumbling beginning, made a rally, came up second best. But Victory Formation, to show this kind of tenacity, grit, determination, fight back the way he did. Now, is this going to translate to a mile? He's run 6.5 and 6 furlongs. And he's got an outside draw coming out of sprints. You would think that his speed will be able to overcome that and he won't be caught wide into the first turn, not a very big run of the turn. One thing you don't know about horses, Lafitte, you can tell if they have ability, but it's what they do when they've got to reach down and find more. You know this guy will fight for it.
$340,000 Taprit Colt Victory Formation. Did you get the sense he came back, dug in, and came back at Two Eagle River, or did you think Two Eagle River perhaps thought his job was done once he struck the front?
I didn't really see that from Two Eagle River because his ears didn't come up. He still looked like the demeanor was that he was digging in. His ears were flat back. He was reaching out. A lot of times when you see horses that'll ease up when they hit the front, biggest indicators, watch their ears. Their ears will go forward and they kind of start looking at things. Their ears are like radar. What their ears point towards is what they're concentrating on. I didn't see that in that particular case. Now, Two Eagle River did get beat today, another time when he looked like he was going to go by, but he also had to overcome a tough start. So I'm not ready to say he's a horse that's hanging. I just think he faced a very tough rival here, and he had a kind of a difficult trip today.
Love to see that determination from a developing 2-year-old about to turn 3. Victory Formation for Brad Cox, the favorite, and Steve Asmussen has a win earlier on today's card. tomorrow, represented by 2. How did he do that? And a communication memo is steadily progressing and finally put it all together, graduating Richie in his 4th career start on this strip.
And going the mile distance. So he's already had that experience around 2 turns. He's got the foundation of 3 sprint races underneath his belt. I like the way he finished here. And one thing we've seen from Steve Asmussen's runners, particularly his young horses, they get better incrementally. He doesn't prepare them to be at their best for a maiden race, for an allowance race. He kind of builds them. It's like a crescendo, right? He's an artist. He's going to build them into that big finish, and he prepares horses for what's in front of him. I think this horse has a lot of upside.
Communication memo, who's by Bolt Doro. He was the defeated favorite in that 2017 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The winner was a maiden by the name of Good Magic, and the sire of, how did he do that? 2 starts back, and here's where it gets tricky, trying to evaluate the form here. Exiting the Zia Juvenile win 2 starts back late November.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by it. It was a big run from him. He was not flattered by the effort of Count de Monet, who had everything his own way earlier today in the stake and just did not run particularly well. And he was fairly well beaten by him. He is stretching to the mile for the first time, does have a lot of foundation. I like the other Asmussen runner better. The
clear path to the Kentucky Derby through Hot Springs, Arkansas. How productive it's been going back to Smarty Jones in 04, Curlin in 07, American Pharoah won a Triple Crown 2015. Steve Asmussen still trying to figure out how to get that first Kentucky Derby victory. He has a lot of young prospects about to turn 3, and for his 3-year-olds running tomorrow in the Smarty Jones, there was kind of a concern about some missed training going in to the Smarty Jones, and how much of a concern that really is for Asmussen.
They'll all have to run over the same racetrack, but I am expecting, and obviously both of the entrants in the Smarty Jones, to benefit from racing recently, considering the training interruption with the weather we've had over Christmas. It's a great draw for his first 2-turn race. I think Isaac riding him last time, a little more familiar with him, and hopefully he'll respond with the chance for him to go 2 turns with his pedigree. Definitely think he can be in the mix. Ricardo gave him a great trip that day, and obviously a big jump up from his maiden victory to a stake, but won over the distance, over the surface, and it would be nice for him to repeat that sort of trip. This is obviously a big step for both of them, but it is the first of the 2-turn 3-year-old preps here at Oaklawn.
Just glad to see Ricardo Santana and Steve Asmussen, working together again.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ricardo had ridden so hard for Steve, and it's hard. Trainer and jockey relationships can be fragile because there's egos involved. Trainer thinks horse is going to run well, horse doesn't run well. He's not going to blame himself. Who gets blamed? The rider. Riders have personalities and egos too, and their egos get bruised, and they maybe say things they shouldn't at times. But they've had so much success together that I'm kind of glad whatever rift seemingly in the rearview mirror, and they're a good combination. They understand each other's philosophy, their approach to the game, and he understands how Steve trains, so he has a clear understanding of how to ride those horses.
The success you mentioned, Santana rode Asmussen's record breaker, becoming North America's all-time leading trainer. I haven't looked at the stats I want to say in a while. I think Santana won 6 Grade 1 races in the summer of 21. I think 5 were for Asmussen. At Saratoga, Grade 1 victories together. So much success together over the years.
So much success. And again, listen, also when you ride first call for a high-volume barn, you're not going to ride every race perfectly. You're going to throw in a clunker now and then. And that kind of tests the relationship. You get beat on a horse that they felt like shouldn't have lost, and sometimes it is the rider's fault. You're not going to ride perfect races all the time, and sometimes you're just going to downright blow it. And it's just a fact.
And they'll team up tomorrow with a communication memo, one of 2 for Steve Asmussen, and that Smarty Jones Stakes at Oaklawn Park. Always a hotbed of talent for young developing 3-year-olds. They will all turn 3 at the stroke of midnight. All North American registered 3-year-olds. Richie from the Smarty Jones, the lucrative Southwest, and then the Derby points get serious in the Rebel, 50 to the winner. and $100 to the winner in the $1.25 million Grade 1 Arkansas Derby.
What a series of races to lead up to the Derby. And, to think that the prep for their Arkansas Derby is $1 million purse, that's just remarkable in itself. And, at some point, Lafitte will talk about these 2-year-olds turning 3 overnight and, kind of how all of that works out, even though it's official. A lot of these horses won't be official, technically 3. Officially they are, excuse me, but until their birthdays. But to me, I've always thought March foals are the best, and most notably horses like Secretariat were born in March because they're not inhibited by the weather. If you have a January foal, they may not have the ability to get out and start romping and using their muscles and playing in a field because of ice and snow and different conditions. Where a March foal, you're already past the teeth of a winter, and they're having the opportunity to get out every day and be a horse.
I don't know that I've ever heard that particular perspective. Really interesting, because it does make a difference about when they're actually born in the calendar year. You're saying they're 3. You could have a late foal, like Pioneer of the Nile, second in the Derby. I think he was a May foal, how young he really was in terms of conceding experience. I think that might be the first time I've ever heard of a January, February foal that could be.
Well, Mucho Macho Man was a June foal, which is very, very late into our breeding season, and that would put a horse behind, but he caught up later on in his life.
Yeah, he did.
Some people subscribe to the idea that, well, a January foal then would be better because he's a little older than everybody else, but I'm not of that. That's not the way I look at it. I think a March foal is absolutely an optimum time.
Hope you're okay with a February foal, because that's what we have with Defining Purpose, who is the current 5-2 favorite, up from that 7-5 though. In the Year's End Stakes, $150,000 purse. There she is, by a former Whitney winner in Cross Traffic. Kenny McPeak looking for a 4th win on the afternoon. The barn is red hot. What'll Defining Purpose do in the Year's End Stakes? We'll find out in about 16 minutes.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Poppy Flower is kicking in. Poppy Flower with the momentum. Nagarok, they come on for the finish, and it is going to be Nagarok.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Gearing up for the 2nd of 2 stakes races at Oaklawn Park. Year's End Stakes, horses in the paddock, post-parade shortly. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. And Game of Silks continues. The reveal, Jonathan Kinchin. Andy got the shiny new expensive toy, $1.3 million into mischief. Richie says he feels like he's been a kid all morning, opening up Christmas presents, and it's nothing but clothes, nothing too exciting. Your turn, my friend.
I would have bet Andy would have got coal, but that's just me.
If Santa was around and everyone got what they deserved, you're absolutely right. Let's see what you got, JK.
Well, you got a Chestnut Filly by Casaba at a laser last, and I think you and I are going to combine our stables. See what we come up with. Indiana bred, an April 24th fault. All right. Dam is unraced out of a Grade 1 winning Dynamite Last. I remember Dynamite Last. She ran around here and in Florida. Stakes place in Kentucky.
Same family as his multiple Grade 1 winner, Dubai World Cup winner, Roses in May.
Now, JK, we got to dig deeper here, man. This Casaba has had 29 foals, 15 winners. That's pretty strong. This could be a sire maybe we got to look into a little more.
Got a useful horse. I got a nice Indiana bred program, so maybe we can go up there and pick up some check. The best thing I can come up with, if you ever run into Dale Romans, you got to be in a private setting. Ask him to tell you the Roses in May story. He'll know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't wait to hear this. A, I don't know that there's a better storyteller in the industry. Dale Romans.
Yeah.
Roses in May. He was a serious racehorse. JK, he was second to Go Zapper in that Breeders' Cup Classic, and again, that Dubai World Cup win for Dale. He did an amazing job with him.
He's also an answer to a trivia question. He's one of the horses that I saw in my first Breeders' Cup at Lone Star Park. He got beat that day by a freaky horse in Go Zapper, but I didn't even know what I was looking at. $40 on eBay. Didn't pick a winner all day.
I want this story. Like, I want to text Dale now and hear this story.
You know when to catch Dale? You end of training in Saratoga, go to the Spring Street Deli, which is a great spot in Saratoga to get sandwiches and other things. And Dale holds court right there, sit out. It's fantastic. Good food.
There's a Dale Romans sandwich named breakfast or something named Spring Street, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he always sits outside if the weather's good. It's great. Him and Tammy are there. You sit down, have good food from Spring Street Deli, and story time with Dale.
If this is what we're talking about, JK, after you just received your third-round draft pick, kind of speaks volumes about the enthusiasm and the excitement about this newest addition to your stable.
Hey, look, if he's got 4 legs and can run around there, good ones can come from anywhere. Ask California Chrome.
Jonathan got socks.
You don't know. You could wind up with this horse. It could be your next tattoo. You don't know. Or not.
Probably not.
For more information, silks.io. Game of Silks, where the metaverse meets horse racing ownership, turning horses into digital assets. You get the data, the NFT likeness of a racehorse. Again, the big story today was Andy getting that expensive Into Mischief goal.
Can't wait. I think we got a couple more reveals today.
We have more?
I'm excited.
2 more for Jay. Hang tight, JK. It can only get better. It can only get better. And there's D. Wayne Lucas. We touched on this earlier, the fact that he was back on his pony, I think Thursday or perhaps yesterday for the first time after being bucked from his pony in the morning and breaking 5 ribs a few weeks ago. Like I don't know, December 8th, December 9th?
He's 83.
83.
He's John Dutton.
He's Yellowstone?
Yellowstone, John Dutton.
I would have been out for 6 months, or at least nurse the excuse for 6 months.
Do you know how hard it is to breathe? If you sneeze, the agony involved.
5 broken ribs, and there he is. So much fun tracking him with Secret Oath. Last year, it all started at Oaklawn Park. I believe it was the Martha Washington. She had another big braided stakes win, and as I mentioned yesterday, one of the most exciting aspects of last year's Arkansas Derby, as good as Cyberknife was, the roar from the crowd when Secret Oath turned it on the far turn.
And him winning the Kentucky Oaks. You know, you go back to when he really broke out with horses like Codex, late 70s, early 80s, when things started to gel. And he basically shaped how this game is played now with trainers with multiple divisions. And look at the alumni that have come out of his barn as assistant trainers that gone on to incredible training careers. Obviously, Todd Putch is the first that jumps into your mind.
Still going strong. He has Take Charge. Brianna here at 3-1, a second choice. You touched on some of those big wins in the early 80s. His first Preakness win in Baltimore before Cal Ripken Jr., baseball's Iron Man, made his major league debut. Wayne Lucas had already won 8 Preakness. Like, how long has Ripken been retired?
Wow.
And Lucas is still out there.
That really puts
doing
it
his
in
thing.
a different perspective,
Incredible.
doesn't it? Wow.
Post-parade for the year's end stakes. Kenny McPeek looking for a 4th win. There's Defining Purpose, the current 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, I think the right favorite here. Hot Barn, filly that comes out of the Goldenrod.
Unifying. Big opportunity for Riley Mott.
Yeah, Philly gave him his first winner as a trainer, and he's going to have to step forward here as he stretches out.
Ricardo Santana rides for the first time, 9-2, live on the board. And a long shot in taxed at 17-1. First after the claim, Randy Morse.
Yeah, one stretching out to, well, running a mile last time at Churchill, claimed, and this is tougher, though.
Gray Philly would be a surprise. Tax, Midnight Heiress for Jerry Hollendorfer. Quick Philly.
Feels like she's the speed of this affair. The new farm has definitely bred speed horses over the years, and she looks quick.
Number 5, Charlie May, and a runaway winner, most recent, at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, and another one coming out of a sprint. So maybe we got some more pace on here, especially 2 speed horses drawn side by side.
The Curlin filly, trained by Dwayne Lucas. And those Horton colors take charge, Brianna.
You know, she was pulled up last time in the Goldenrod, but horses have to go through protocols to be able to race after being pulled up. So obviously she's worked to the satisfaction of examining veterinarians.
Would be an emotional moment in racing, just having lost Willis Horton. Take charge, Brianna. There's Blue Light Special, a contender at 5-1. Needs some money, a 2-time winner.
Yeah, a filly that's coming out of a claiming race also would have to improve a little bit, but has a lot of foundation.
And finally, Fabulous Candy arrives with some momentum, having won at Delaware Park early November.
I like a progression, 5.5, 6, a mile, mile and 70, now back to the mile distance. Tough post, though, from the outside.
11-1, the 2-year-old fillies in the year's end stakes. Post time 5 minutes, 1 mile, $150,000 purse. Defining Purpose, the 2-1 favorite. As always, our offer still stands. Join us at Naira Bets. When you do so, sign up, use that promo code MATCH200, earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. Defining Purpose exits the Goldenrod. Part of the reason she's favored, though, this effort prior to the Goldenrod, running away and hiding at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, showed improved speed in her second start and just kept finding. We were actually on for this race, and I was very impressed with this effort. I do think that she might have been aided a bit that day. It seemed like inside pads were very strong at that point at the Churchill meeting, but to take nothing away from the effort, this daughter of cross traffic finished the deal and came back in a much tougher race in the Goldenrod where she wasn't embarrassed.
Any hesitation when you have especially a young developing horse exiting a race where they were just clearly outclassed / overmatched?
You know, I not knowing an individual, it's hard to kind of say how horses react to that. All horses are different. Some are much more sensitive. Spending time in the barn, what horses after a defeat are sulking? They won't eat. They go to the back of the stall. They're mad. I mean, a lot of people that don't work with horses on a daily basis don't realize that they have these reactions. And that's why I think it's incumbent upon their human connections to place them as competitively as possible. Don't overmatch them. I think it's more debilitating to a horse. They try harder without results, and they'll tend to just kind of get sour on the game that way.
And Polly, we're looking at her now on the screen, Defining a Purpose. She's full of herself out there.
Yeah, she kind of is full of herself. And she's kind of a horse that, Kenny McPeek, I guess against the grain a little bit. If you watch Kenny McPeek's horses run throughout, the years, they usually launch from far back. And a lot of them don't usually show a ton of speed. Kenny literally lets them race into shape. And, this horse has shown some speed. Defining Purpose. Took a field gate to wire. Again, it was one of those restricted races, going a mile and a 16th. And then went into the Goldenrod. Now, we've talked about Hoosier Philly. What time is it right now? It is 4 o'clock, so 5 o'clock Eastern time. So she's the best 2-year-old filly for the next 6.5 hours till we get to New Year's. And then, Pretty Mischievous came back to win the Untappable, who ran third in that race. and she was not far behind her, and she got an 80 buyer out of that race. So I think she obviously is the one to beat. This is probably the one time where you know, she doesn't really need to send. She could probably just sit there a little bit, and then, you know, Dave Cabrera could save some ground on the rail. Now, unifying the two, Ricardo Santana gets Lasix for Riley Mott. I would think would be on the engine in here and gets to the front end and tries to just slow him down a little bit and keep on going. That's why I think Defining Purpose will be behind her at least early. You know, the 6 Take Charge, Brianna was taking a ton of money early in this race. You know, she got vanned off in the Goldenrod last time. She does get Lasix, and I'm not going to question Dwayne Lucas. You're just like questioning Babe Ruth. I mean, like, you just don't ask those questions. So, you know, at 4-1, maybe she'll fire a big shot in the blue light special.
And not afraid to call his shot either. Dwayne Lucas. We'll see what Take Charge Brianna does in this year-end stakes as they march towards the starting gate, circling back to Unifying, who Paul just touched on. A couple of sprint races, good speed. Now stretching out, Unifying, and from a pedigree standpoint, she's by Union Rags, a Belmont Stakes winner. Added distance figures to be no issue. Here is her maiden victory, wire to wire, again in a sprint race at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, listen, she was very good. It was a restricted maiden allowance for horses that had been purchased for $45,000 or less. She was good. She improved off her first start, which she ran right here at the Belmont at the Big A meeting. Going 7 furlongs, came back here, gets it done. My question, my worry for her is, and I agree with Paul, I mean, she's fast, she's got sprint speed. Charlie May's got sprint speed. Midnight Heiress is sprint speed. I mean, this could develop into a fairly hot pace, I think. I'd love to get Jonathan's take on it.
Yeah, on paper, potentially a hot pace, JK. Doesn't always materialize that way.
You know what? It kind of does at Oaklawn Park, Lafitte. And I don't know if it's more hungry riders. Richie could probably elaborate on this. You know, in New York, the guys and gals there are pretty established, and they make pretty good money. And I think that sometimes they might err on the side of safety rather, not safety for themselves, but safety as in I don't want to get yelled at by my trainer for going too fast. I think down at Oaklawn, there's a little bit more aggression I feel like you see down there. And the 2 Unifying, it does make sense in here. This is Riley Mott's first win, and only. And I think that this horse is one that, you know, I'm sure Riley makes sure that he gives this one a pet every time he walks by the barn. The other one that I'll mention is the 9 Fabulous Candy, towards the outside. Hasn't run since November 2nd, but did win that day and has a couple of wins. And speed figure-wise is probably a little bit light, but really not that far off from the favorite, Defining Purpose. And so considering the fact that the price is significantly better, I think the 9 is interesting. I'm going to pick the 9 Fabulous Candy. We'll need to take a step forward, but I like to draw towards the outside. And like I said, just the difference between the 2-1 favorite Defining Purpose, it's not really enough. Now, if you like the one Defining Purpose, you should probably double your wager because I've picked against 2 Kenny McPeek horses, and they both won.
Kenny McPeek, thrilled, taking a stand against Defining Purpose. JK going with Fabulous Candy, Richie, from that outside box. Going 2 turns at Oaklawn Park. If you're riding Fabulous Candy, what are you doing, hoping that she doesn't lose too much precious real estate trying to establish position?
I'm counting on the speed showing up here, and I'm going to look for that gap between flights and tuck in as much as I can, because my contention is you can't be wide on 2 turns.
Right.
So you're on a closer. Most likely when you're going to start your rally, you don't want to get that rally interrupted. You're going to look to be clear. So it's imperative that you save as much ground on the first turn with the idea that you potentially are going to have to give away some ground on the second turn.
That's Fabulous Candy, 10-1, JK's top selection for this year's end stakes. Defining Purpose, the favorite at 2-1. Final thoughts here as they get set to load.
I think Defining Purpose is the best horse, and I'm looking for closers to round out my exactor underneath, and I think Jonathan's came up with a good one in the 9. Full disclosure, I bet straight exact is Defining Purpose over the 6, 7, 8, 9.
Love that angle. That shot there and the looks on the faces for the riders, it's game face on. It's game time.
Yep, you see them fixing their goggles, lining them up, knowing that, they might going to have to pull goggles down as the dirt kickback comes in, and you want to line them up the feet so you got a little notch, just takes one finger, flick it right down.
Which one of those jockeys will wind up in the winner's circle following this year's end stakes? We're about to find out. Defining Purpose, the favorite at post time. Vic Stauffer standing by with the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Good start. Blue Light Special and Unifying shows speed. Between horses, Midnight Heiress. Taxed is in that mix. Defining Purpose just in behind the leaders. Then comes Charlemagne and Take Charge Brianna by following Need Some Money, and the trailer is Fabulous Candy. They turn to the backstretch, and the leader is Unifying, who draws the rail and just a half length in front from Taxed and a 3-wide Midnight Heiress. These three right across the track. Defining Purpose gets a perfect trip. She is just in behind, a threesome up front. She wants to go. David Cabrera wants her to sit just in behind, and now she's in a tight and tough spot. 3.5 lengths further back to Blue Light Special. Then comes to the outside, and Charlemagne at the rail needs some money. Take Charge Brianna is second to last, and Fabulous Candy is the trailer. Into the far turn. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Unifying and Taxed are 1-2. Now, Defining Purpose has been moved to the outside, and here she comes. Defining Purpose in about 3 strides is up to challenge for the lead. 4 lengths further back, 2. Blue Light Special, they run to the top of the stretch, and it's Taxed and Defining Purpose, and it looks like these two, and it might only be one. Defining Purpose has taken charge, and now she is a full 2.5 lengths in front in the year's end. Taxed is second. Unifying is third. Then to the outside and Take Charge Brianna, but it's Defining Purpose, and she's gone. Defining Purpose now 5 in front. Unifying is second. Take Charge Brianna might get third. It's Defining Purpose. 4 wins, Kenny McPeak. Defining Purpose beat Unifying and Take Charge Brianna.
Just too fast. Just too classy. Defining Purpose hammers this field. Back-to-back wins, David Cabrera. And as you heard Stauffer reference, what a way to close out the year. Kenny McPeak, 4 wins on the afternoon. And what a quality filly on the ascent. This is Defining Purpose.
This is a really nice filly, and it really complements Hoosier filly, who gets such high marks for the way she's run already, and obviously our colleague Tom Amos talking about her. David Cabrera did a really good job. Your post one, there's speed, but you don't want to get shuffled back. So you see he hustles the heel of the feet into the turn to make sure that he's not looking for the lead, but to secure that inside position, right? Now he's got her where he wants her, but he's already kind of turned her on a little bit.
She gets really aggressive.
Really aggressive. She's going to grab a hold of the bit and really taking a big hold of him, trying to run up on heels. You can see it's progressive now, right? Look where his legs are, the position of his legs, where his hands up off her neck. That's when a rider's using all his body weight to kind of control a 1,000-pound animal. And at one point, it looks like she's going to drag him up into this 3-ply duel, but make it a 4-ply duel right in here, and she's ranked. And the best thing that happens is she kind of gets squeezed back a little bit, and it almost looks like she got a little bit more tractable at that point when she kind of had to steady out of that spot. She said, okay, now he knows how much horse he has. He's going to ease out to the 4-path. He says, I don't need to save any more ground. I saved all that ground on the first turn. I've got so much horse. I just got to make sure I got a place to go when the time comes. Opens up his fingers. She's going to pick up these fillies quite readily. Big effort from Tax, by the way, to fight back after being outpaced around the turn to get up for second. But watch the long, languishing looks that David Cabrera is going to, one there, another there. I mean, this is when a rider needs it. We got to come up with it. We're going to get a patent, go to Shark Tank, rear view mirrors for jockeys, and he's going to set her down. Going to need a little help getting her a right lead. Watch, she's going to shake the inside rein right here and help her lean in, boom, to her right lead. And now it's over. He's going to just give her a couple little taps, reminders like, hey, because she's a young horse, realizes, wow, I opened up a lot. Ears come up, wins. This is a very good filly that really complements Hoosier filly, the winner of the Golden Rod.
Okay, the epitome of being geared down, ears pricked. What else do you want from me? David Cabrera says, Defining Purpose. I'm more impressed because of the struggle early in terms of trying to get her to relax, because she can grow out of that. You know, that's a mistake. That's an interception. That's a fumble. And she still wins that easily. Once they get all of that straightened out, she's going to be that much better. Defining purpose by many. 1, 2, 6, 3 in the New Year's and the year's end stakes. 4 wins on the afternoon. Kenny McPeak, defining purpose. Sensational in the year's end at Oaklawn.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 won't do it. 300,000. 275, you leave 275,000. 75, but we get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Here, but we get $200,000.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Here comes Malathaat. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathaat grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathaat has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curlin, the classic sire.
How do you become the gold standard in racing partnerships? One partner, one horse, one victory at a time.
Flight line, 20 lengths clear.
Congratulations to all our partners who have made West Point the gold standard for the last 3 decades.
Crowd still buzzing, we are sure, following that performance. Defining purpose at Oaklawn. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Really good filly, Richie. Bright future. The 4 wins for Kenny McPeak, David Cabrera. Rode 3 of them.
And I just love the progression with this filly. You're seeing a filly mature from her maiden effort to her maiden breaking effort to a run in the Goldenrod that was actually very good against arguably, you know, if not the best two-year-old filly, the second best two-year-old filly this year. Nice effort, defining purpose, $6, and made it look like a bargain.
She'll get, based on that, she'll get another shot at that upper echelon graded stakes level.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is what we got to look forward to. We talk about the progression at Oaklawn to the Kentucky Derby, also to the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, of course. And as you mentioned, unifying just for hanging in and take charge. Brianna, who wasn't really persevered after late, but a solid plugging away 3rd place finish.
Yeah, she just seems like she's lost all her speed, and she just kind of keeps coming with that grinding style. There was pace on today. Honestly, not as fast a pace as I actually thought it was. It was a contested pace, but I thought it might even be a little quicker. But listen, the winner was best. Worked out a good trip despite getting a bit keen in the middle.
It's a big fan of her sire in cross traffic. A front runner, a gray, really determined, some blue collar from that perspective, and that Whitney win is the way he would dig and fight. Just a classy little racehorse.
Yeah, love horses that fight for it. Give me the horse that's going to take a punch and give one back.
The sire of defining purpose, cross traffic. We'll hear from David Cabrera shortly. We have one left. 10th and final on this New Year's Eve program from Oaklawn Park. They know how to put on a New Year's Eve party, by the way, at Oaklawn. That 10th coming up in about 20 minutes. Woody's Choice 5-2 with about 18 minutes to post, JK. So you get 2 envelopes, 2 draft picks this afternoon. Game of Silks. The last one, at least at first glance, doesn't look like the star in the making, the real difference maker you want in your stable. Time for your second envelope.
This one better be better, Lafitte. Or
I hand chose each of them for you. Didn't know what was in them, but I hand chose each of them for you.
Let's see. Come on.
Well, you got socks to go, gloves to go along with your socks.
What's going on with you, JK?
What's this one? I can't see it.
All right, this
You
is
don't wanna
by
see it.
DeMarchelier, sold for $3,000. Now we got an angle here though, Jonathan. We had Bernix Bank around here in New York and New York Stallion series. I rode this horse's great-great-grandfather, Packett's Landing, for my dear friend Dennis Bryder to win the Rockingham Park the Father's Day Handicap about 25 years ago. So we got something to build on here.
He really had to dig
Was that
for
on the
that
grass,
one.
Richie? Was that on the grass, buddy?
No, it was on the dirt. And you know who ran second, who was riding at Rockingham Park before anybody knew who he was? Edgar Prado. And we went to the lead, and then me and Dennis went to Faneuil Hall, and we ate, and we had fun, and we caught the Delta shuttle back. So it was a good day.
And a
Well, listen,
great story to go with the prospect now.
If you bought this horse for $3,000, do me a favor, send it to Chad, right? It's a son of Dubawi, DeMarchelier. You know, just at least we'll get him on the grass and cross our fingers and see what happens.
You never know. You never know. And you have one more. Reload it. Do the animation.
I
This is
deserve
your
another
fi- You do. Your 5th round draft pick. I feel better about this one.
I think
feel better.
You're going to like this draft pick. You got a shiny, brand new Schwinn bicycle to go with your socks and your gloves. A daughter of Not This Time that sold for $375,000. Not
There
This
it is.
Time, obviously, sire of Epicenter. Good, strong female family. A lot of black type. I think you scored out here. This is an A on your list.
I got another good story to go along with this one, and I'm not kidding you. It has to do with Dale Romans. I was in the Albany airport flying home from Saratoga. The flight was delayed. I was sitting there. I was still a fan. I had never been on TV before, and I'm still a fan. And I talked to Dale Romans, and he told me about Not This Time. I called my friend in Vegas. We had a future wager on Not This Time to win the Derby. Unfortunately, he got hurt. So I've got a nice relationship with Not This Time.
He would describe Not This Time. He would say, look, he's spooky good. Quote, like he's spooky good. He was second in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile at Santa Anita in 2016, I think, to Classic Empire. And he's a really good stallion. We know this early on. You would have loved to have seen, if he could have had a real shot and stayed healthy, what kind of damage Not This Time could have done for Dale Romans.
Yeah, no doubt. And you saw him, he had some issues and things didn't go quite right, but he had the ability. He showed that early on. So you got precocity here. I like this pick for you, JK. I think that this is the one. And listen, your feet will be warm. You got socks. Your hands will be warm. You got gloves, and you got nice.
The necessities, man. The necessities.
I mean, Andy needed the socks and gloves, right? He's going to Times Square tonight. If anybody sees him, make sure you take a selfie with him. I didn't need it. I'm staying in tonight. I'm good. Why did he get that?
You're staying in?
Oh, yeah, I'm chilling. It's beautiful. Dinner's already about to happen upstairs. Nice. I'm 100% not leaving the house for maybe the next 48 hours, to be honest with you.
JK with a serious addition to his stable as we have the website silks.io. This is really going to be exciting, following these horses, following these prospects, and the equivalent kind of a dip into the toe for somebody who's never played like a fantasy football, never had a fantasy stable, what this opportunity represents.
Listen, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I mean, all kidding aside, you don't know where a good horse is going to come from, and any of these horses can develop. And I say it a lot, horses also create their own pedigree, even if they don't have the strongest pedigree.
You're not lying. Who knows what's lurking in this field? More 2-year-olds to close the show and the year from Oaklawn Park. We'll have riders up in a moment. 2-year-olds sprinting 6 furlongs. Good maiden special weight event to close the New Year's Eve program in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Stay tuned. Gorgeous shot in New York City. Happy New Year from all of us. Happy New Year's Eve from all of us at America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started, NairaBets.com today. 2022, what a year in thoroughbred racing, and specifically here in New York. And so many memorable moments over the last 12 months as we look back at some of the highlights and moments that stood out in thoroughbred racing right here in New York.
Flightline is in full flight. He had a slow start, but a terrific finish in the Grade 1 mid-mile. Jackie's Warrior wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the third straight season. And in Italian wins the Diana in front-running fashion. The final time of the race was 1 minute 45 seconds. This is a new course record. It is Hallelujah at 24-1. Trained by Robbie Davis, the jockey, Jackie Davis. Here is Nest, and she is pouring it on here in the stretch. Nest wins the Alabama by 5 lengths. And Life is Good breaks in stride from the outside. Life is Good still in front. Life is Good. Malathot grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathot has won the personal ensign. Here is Casa Creed, who makes the last move, the winning move in the Grade 1 4-star Dave. Jackie's Warrior tested here today. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the forego. A Saratoga moment for the ages. Win number 1,000 at the Spa for Hall of Fame jockey Johnny Velasquez. And he is at the top of the 3-year-old class. Epicenter won the Jim Dandy, and he backs it up in the Run Happy Travers. Warlike Goddess, he's gonna beat the boys today in this Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. And Elite Power will continue his winning ways here, taking the Grade 2 Vosburg. A record-setting stakes victory for jockey Erod Ortiz Jr. Stakes win number 77. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal. Won the Remsen here as a 2-year-old, and he comes back to win the Wood Memorial. And it is Mo Donegal, the Wood winner, who has taken over, and it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion. Nest was second, so it's Todd Pletcher, 1-2 in the 2022 Belmont Stakes.
Reserved for Todd Pletcher. That is so good. So many great moments in 2022 here in New York. You figure that there's going to be several from Saratoga, as there were the Belmont Stakes, the Travers, and many Grade 1 races. But the moment between father and daughter, Robbie and Jackie Davis, celebrating that moment at Saratoga with Hallelujah, for me, that was one of the highlights.
Oh, it was fantastic, the whole celebration, the atmosphere. And listen, somebody who's friends with Robbie, competed with Robbie, I love to see him have success as a trainer, and to do it with his daughter, who contributed a tremendous ride. Jackie came up the rail. Although funny thing is after the fact, Robbie said, I told her that I wanted her to stay outside. So she, as most of our children do, they don't listen to us anyway, and got it done.
That day, I think it was 4-star Dave Day, and we were just switching out and sitting down and setting up the Grade 1 4-star Dave, but at the same time, like, we might have already seen the best thing in we're going to see all day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. And, it was reminiscent of when Robbie got I think it was his first win here at Aqueduct on a horse on the grass that Jackie rode at a big price. So a lot of fun.
No off season. We're right back at it tomorrow, and another year of racing in New York. And one more race at Oaklawn Park. More 2-year-olds, this maiden special weight, 6-furlong sprint, $90,000 purse. Start with Ben's Legacy, first-time starter by More Than Ready.
Some pedigree here. This is a full to Rushing Fall, who was incredible on the turf, but a classy-looking individual here, son of More Than Ready.
Pretty good. Multiple Grade 1 winner for Chad Brown on grass, Ben's Legacy. Then number 2, I'm Smart, debuting gelding by Eye of the Leopard.
Yeah, Minnesota bred here, not taking much money. The mare did foal one debut winner.
We were just discussing, not this time, Classic Empire. Here's a Classic Empire first-time starter, Interlock Empire.
White-hot Kenny McPeak barn looking for their 5th win of the day.
What a day. Won last year, Smarty Jones did McPeak with Dak Attack. Here's Soybean Man and Rafael Bejarano.
Yeah, taking some money here, and Ron Marquette essentially lives on the grounds there at Oaklawn Park.
Along the backstretch. Several fresh faces, another first-time starter, Woody's Choice.
Yeah, taking some money here, too, coming off a nice, steady work tab. This horse bet down to 4-1.
10-strike racing. Iron Clover, trainer Brad Cox.
Brad Cox, good, solid works, also taking some money here, 5-1.
Swaggish, debuting colt by West Coast for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, a little bit cold on the board for Steve Asmussen runner, but you can never discount Steve. North America's winningest conditioner.
Real prospects in this one. And there's the favorite, who does have the experience for Norm Cassie, and Easy Action for the lead longs.
Yeah, I mean, this horse has kind of pointed out that he has ability, this son of Speightstown, and Maryland bred to boot.
Stray Cat, Tyler Bass, 14-1.
I think this horse can really improve in his second start. I'm never going to count out the coach, Wayne Lucas.
Into Mischief Colt, and then number 10 in Pine Cove, debuting colt by Motown.
Yeah, a couple of flashy works there at Oaklawn. Not taking any money on the board, though.
Dallas Stewart, really good with first-time starters. And here's Bubba Can Dance at a price.
Another one, a conditioner, Dallas Stewart, that comes out of the school of Wayne Lucas.
Double Strike towards the outside at 31-1.
Yeah, adds blinkers after being claimed last time by Mike Pewage, who we saw a horse that he claimed earlier in the day run extremely well.
Out at Oaklawn Park, another look at Easy Action, who is the favorite at 9-5. He was second in his debut. Richie, this was his second career start. Showing that tactical speed. He's going to wind up finishing 4th here. This was mid-November. Churchill Downs, Easy Action right here, looking to find his best ride.
Yeah, and listen, he showed high speed first time. This time he was a little bit, just off the pace. So he's got speed. He's a little bit green there. See him lugged in behind the leader at one point. Doesn't look the most comfortable between horses, right? He took that pressure from the outside runner, Bromley, who actually came back to win again for Paulo Lobo. A very nice looking prospect there. I just don't think he was comfortable in between horses. And he wasn't going to beat the winner, but I think he could have been closer.
It was like intimidated in tight quarters. Paulie, Easy Action, what do you think today? Does he deliver as the favorite, graduated 8-5?
That's a tough question, Lafitte. That day at Churchill Downs, there was a split races when Bromley won that race. And Mig's right. Bromley came back, to win at Turfway Park the other night in nice fashion for Paulo Lobo. Now, Bromley had been working with another runner that I had gotten a tip on. Bromley won that race at about 23-1. The other horse that was in the other heat had run a decent 5th and gotten a little bit of trouble. So I think that race was a pretty live race, so I can understand why the public has Easy Action as your heavy favorite in here. You look at Brad Cox and Talamo, you get Iron Clover in here looking at Lucky Colt. They're usually going to take some action, and you're getting 6-1. The 5, taking a lot of money here for Ernie Witt. We talked about him yesterday. Very good conditioner with Kristen Torres aboard, a son of Birdsong, that is taking action on the board. Is actually pretty light in the will pace, too, when it comes to the multis as well. I'll tell you what, the horse that made the best appearance to me was Swaggish, the 7, Isaac Castillo. When I was talking to Steve Asmussen off air, I asked him, what do you think about Isaac? He goes, I love this kid. He's only getting better and better, and I have no hesitation putting him on horses. He said when David Cabrera got hurt, I was trying to get an interview with David in the last years. I really wanted to talk to him, and he's really gotten his confidence back. He said when David got hurt, he started using Isaac, and Isaac just started delivering, and he wants to put David back on some of his horses, but Isaac's been bringing home the money. So maybe he could bring home the money, about $26 in the last race here, Lafitte, the 7, Swaggish.
You better look good with that name, Swaggish. Castillo, you have to be ready for that opportunity and take advantage, as he has here, teaming up with Steve Asmussen. Swaggish at a price, JK. What about the favorite as we've continued to look at Easy Action here now, 8-5 as we have reached post time?
On debut, ran into Loggins, who's a nice horse. Ran well that day, took some money into the teeth of that one. Had some trouble last time at Churchill. Got stuck kind of down on the inside. And then had to steady. I thought ran extremely well off of that performance. Should take another step forward to get Ricardo. Again, Ricardo's been on the horse for the last 2 times. I've got no problem with this horse being the favorite. And then I'll talk about the 6 Eyeing Clover as well. I just want to say that I would guess that Marshall Graham of 10 Strike Racing is one of the biggest Looking at Lucky fans. He'll claim a Looking at Lucky. If you have one at a sale, make sure that Marshall comes by to check it out. He loves Looking at Luckies, but he loves them because he likes winning long-distance dirt races. So it's a little bit interesting with this one because Floral Park, the dam, she's produced a bunch of horses that have won, 7 horses that have won, but a lot of them show a ton of early speed. So is this a precocious, fast Looking at Lucky that's going to have a little bit of stamina for Marshall and 10 Strike Racing? Very interested to see how this one runs. I'll be rooting for Eyeing Clover, but the 8 Easy Action in the first 2 starts looks like it's going to be tough to beat. Happy New Year.
3-2, Easy Action.
And Richie.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Is he with us still? Did he have something else?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, Happy New Year,
Oh,
my man.
happy New Year, Jonathan.
Happy New Year.
I can't
Have a
wait to
great
see
one
you
tonight. Little low key, I'm surprised.
I could be there in a few hours, man. Sounds like the food's going to be good.
I go out enough in the 8 weeks here in the summer. I try to relax the rest of the year.
You going to, run for mayor at some point? The Saratoga man?
No, I don't think so.
I'll be your deputy mayor. Come on, we'll lock it up.
That's an untouchable team.
Okay,
Come on.
okay, that's fair.
Great stuff as always. Yeah, happy you have a great night, JK, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Great stuff as always. Jonathan Kinchin touching on Eyeing Clover by Looking at Lucky. Like, he was a gorilla from the beginning. For Bob Baffert, this precocious 2-year-old, a favorite in the Kentucky Derby. And whenever you think back to what the starting gate used to be when you had the auxiliary gate, now there's one long starting gate at Churchill Downs for the Derby, and you don't quite have is the tight quarters, and you're not as claustrophobic from the rail as you used to be. He was the example when somebody would say, why is the rail so bad in the Kentucky Derby in a 20-horse field? Looking at Lucky, the favorite, who lost all chance breaking from the inside.
Yeah, he got jammed that day, much like Ferdinand did with Bill Shoemaker, but was able to overcome it, went in his way through traffic with one of the most brilliant rides at an age when most people are watching the Derby with a beer on their couch. He was guiding Ferdinand through rush hour traffic.
Sunshine Boys, Charlie Whittingham, Bill Shoemaker, Ferdinand back in '86. Looking at Lucky, the sire of Eyeing Clover, number 6, the debuting colt. 7-5, though. What were you noticing from Easy Action in the warm-up, Richie? And number 5, Woody's Choice.
Woody's Choice was a standout in the warm-up to me. Really loved what I saw from him. Really strong, good-looking individual by Birdsong. And I don't know Easy Action, but I just would have liked to have seen a bit more energy level from him. Maybe that's just him, and he's a laid-back type. I'm not familiar with him, but I wasn't thrilled with his energy level in the warm-up.
Great stuff from everybody at Oaklawn Park. A great year. We look forward to 2023 and specifically tomorrow's Smarty Jones, the 3-year-olds in the first step towards the Arkansas Derby. The final race on the New Year's Eve program, race 10, it's post time. Here's Vic Stauffer.
Dance. Eyeing Clover. Last to load, double strike. They're at the post. They're off. Easy Action and Eyeing Clover with Swaggish between horses. Woody's Choice is close up. I Am Smart is next. Interlock Empire, Soybean Man, and to the outside, Stray Cat. Ben's Legacy and Pine Cove are next. Then comes Bubba Can Dance, and the trailer is Double Strike. 4 across the racetrack. At the rail goes Woody's Choice. Eyeing Clover is between horses. To the outside, Easy Action, and Swaggish just inside of him. 3 lengths further back to Soybean Man. Another 3 goes to Stray Cat and I Am Smart. Interlock Empire has 9 lengths to make up. He's a length in front of Ben's Legacy and Pine Cove. 3 back to Bubba Can Dance. Double Strike is the trailer, and the leader is Eyeing Clover, but here comes Easy Action. These 2 at the top of the stretch. Easy Action outside. Eyeing Clover is next. Ben's Legacy is beginning to unwind, and you better take a look at Ben's Legacy in the center of the racetrack. He's dropping within 2.5 lengths of the lead. Easy Action and Eyeing Clover. Eyeing Clover is inside. Easy Action outside. Ben's Legacy flattens out. Eyeing Clover or Easy Action. Eyeing Clover putting away Easy Action. Eyeing Clover in front. Eyeing Clover beat Easy Action. Ben's Legacy third, and Soybean Man finished fourth.
Something for JK to celebrate. Said he was rooting for the Looking at Lucky colt. Eyeing Clover turned back the favorite. Dug in. Impressive win.
Very impressive win, son of Looking at Lucky for 10 Strike Racing.
We'll have those prices for you at NYRABets.com. That'll wrap things up for us. Have a great New Year's Eve, everyone. Happy New Year. Fun day of racing from Oaklawn 2-year-olds. Frosted Departure with Francisco Arrieta digging in late. The start of a massive afternoon for trainer Kenny McPeak. 4 wins highlighted by defining purpose in that runaway effort in the Year's End Stakes. 3 of those wins ridden by David Cabrera. Tomorrow, those 2-year-olds turn 3, and we have a chance to see Victory Formation, the morning line favorite, in Smarty Jones from Oaklawn, right here on America's Day at the Races. Happy New Year, everyone.
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third-crop turf sire in North America. Proud to stand in New York.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Eclipse champion Run Happy, the #1 second crop dirt sire of last year, is back and showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also siring winners at all distances, from 7 furlongs to 1.25 miles. A sire whose runners can carry his speed over all distances and all surfaces. Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.